Yo, 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 it's Tuesday. You know what time it is. It's 9:45. We're meant to start. This is the place you're meant to be. It is Tuesday. It's time for Ashmatic Analysis. Ash, first of all, are you well?
Brother, I won't lie. I have to apologize for any calls I've missed. For anyone that's tried to get hold of me, listen, one of a weekend, bro. I'm just about recovering. So yeah, it is what it is, but I'm tired. But listen, I had a good time, man. I'm good, I'm blessed. And yeah, man, all things Spurs, man. We talk, we're gonna have a good discussion about Spurs as always, man. How are you, my bro?
Yes, no, I'm good. I'm good. I think, yeah, look, I already spoke about how I think Spurs did. I've had time to reflect, and even on the show on Saturday when I went on Last Word on Spurs, I'll probably still feel the same. I'm still in the exact same way. Spurs in it, up and down like a yo-yo. We know when they're gonna win, but we also know when they're gonna lose. Kind of scenario. It's quite easy to predict. But anyway, it's not about us. It's about our guests. About the guest, who we bring on, and how we doing it. So first of all, let's bring out the man from the Hotspur hood, Dad E. Are you well?
Yeah, I'm all cool, mate. Had a good day. Nice day to chill out for a change. No dramas. I'm all cool. Yourselves?
We are well. We are well. And then, back by popular demand, last week's show, everyone was saying, make sure you bring him back. Make sure you bring him back. So we thought, you know what? Make it 2 weeks in a row. Chef, are you well?
I'm well, guys. How are we getting on? I'm good. I'm good. Happy to be back. No, it was a good show. Really enjoyed it.
Man, so good. Twice. We had to do it twice.
Nice. No, it was a good show last week. I enjoyed it.
Crazy. Mad.
We're in better spirits as well. We're in better spirits this week as well.
Oh.
No, all good. So, you know what? Let's get straight into it, right? Because you've heard a lot of certainly Everton. It's, Spurs are most likely going to beat a team like Everton. But if it was any other different result, even if it was 2-0, Spurs fans would have probably been complaining. So actually, let's put it in perspective. Ash, I'll start with you. 4-0, right? Is a very good scoreline, no matter how good the opposition is in the Premier League or not, right?
Yeah, like basically you have to beat what's in front of you. They are a Premier League team. In fact, in the terms of they've been in the Premiership for how long? One of the oldest teams. Yes, they were weakened, but I think we took advantage of their weaknesses. And yeah, we actually turned up. We did damage. We pressed really well, I felt. Won the ball high up. Created a lot of chances, which I'm sure we'll get into. I like a few good one-on-ones, I thought. And it was a little bit different. My thing is, about being positive, with Spurs, the only thing I saw different was that we were a little bit more direct at times, meaning I saw not just Porro do those balls over the top or diagonals. I saw Romero do it like Toby, old school Toby style. Then I saw Basuma attempt to do some, not always accurate, but he was trying to get on the ball and do those balls over the top, switches to play, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously you have Maddison as well. He went direct. I mean, he was trying to find those players running in behind. So I was like, you know what? All right, cool. This could be a different tactic, something we could look forward to this season. Who knows? But yeah, initially we took our chances. And 4-0, it is what it is, man. We did well, man. The boys might need a little bit of praise whilst we beat teams that are in front of us. Do you know what I'm saying? Because we never know how long it's going to last. This is Spurs, man. You have to enjoy the little sunshine once you get it. Because like the English weather, you know there's going to be a rain cloud over the horizon. So, yeah, man, you have to enjoy it, man.
Dan, let me bring you in on this as well. Like, we'll get into the game in a minute, but 4-0 is a reflection. Yeah. What did you make of it?
There was one main thing that was different for me in the game, and that was the fact that we was clinical. I'm not so bothered about the 4-0 bit. It could have been 8-0. The bit I was impressed with is that we didn't concede a bloody goal. I mean, that's what our third clean sheet in 31 games or whatever. So, yeah, that was the bit I was more happy with. Not that the defence ever really had nothing to do, bar when they nearly messed it up a couple of times. But they did what they had to do. I thought Kulu was probably one of, if not the best player on the pitch. I thought he had a really solid game as a centre mid. And I've never really looked on him as a centre mid. I've been telling everyone for time he is not a right winger. Juventus sussed it. He's an attacking midfield central, or he's a false nine. And that's where you see the best of him. But I thought he'd done brilliant in centre mid. Really did. And then Son, can't take it away from him. Snatched that straight off of Pickford, put it in. Then we got a new boy on the left. I'm sure we'll go to him. And I'm sure we'll talk about that thing we've got on the right.
So, Supreme, I'm coming to you.
Whoa, buddy.
It's fresh. That's fresh shots already. We ain't even started.
That is a
at least give me some warning. I almost fell off my chair.
No, Supreme, I'll bring you into it. 4-0 reflection, like just generally positive, negatives.
I think you need that momentum going to where we're gonna go this weekend, and I think it was key for confidence to get goals and to come away from it. I just don't think we had a hell in the hopes chance of getting any points going to St James's Park for the third year in a row. Like, we're going to concede there, but as long as we're going there scoring goals, and I said this, it's good to know we did it without Solanke, we did it without Lolo, who can be back because he would have now finished his concussion protocol. So in terms of getting a solid 3 points, clean sheet, you got to take it. Like I think what Ash was saying, you got to take your opportunities to get the points when you get them, because in this league, as we learned towards the end of the season, you never know where your next 3 points are coming from. So it was a positive. We needed the momentum. So I'm glad that we got the job done.
Alex, welcome. All right. First of all, let's do the niceties before you start going in your rant. All right.
Marlon.
Are you okay?
Let's, bro. You should know Mr. Box Office already, bro. I go straight into it straight away. The pleasantries are just a side note. You know what I mean? All you need to know is that I went
in 7 days, man. Come on.
Well, yeah, bro. All you need to know is that I went to the carnival, had a good time, got rejected by lots of ladies, and that's it. Move on. That's all I need to say, and that's it. But anyway, moving on. That's all they need to say. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's get straight to it. Yeah, I seen Supreme wants round 2 as well. By the way, Mr. Box Office, he obviously enjoyed it. He enjoyed it so much that he got banted so much last week. He wants round 2 as well. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, big up Dan, big up Ashmatic, the best guy on YouTube right now, the most underrated YouTuber, even though he waffles too much, Marlon as well, and that's it. Big up to the crowd, and that's it. Yeah, and before anybody says anything, I ain't going to be popular, and that's it. That's all I need to say. But anyway, moving straight on to the Everton game that everyone's going over the top about again. Listen, it is what it is. It's Everton. You know what I mean? We did what we needed to do, and that's it. I think we're making a big deal about the signing that we made. I've got to be honest. I mean, I'm sorry. Like I said on other channels.
What one?
Bergwijn scored in his debut. That was a debut of a half. Kulu did more in his first debut as well. And I called him a Juventus reject. Even Bentancur, I called him a Juventus reject as well. So I'm sorry. If we're going to start going over the top about this guy, Odobert, who he had a few good touches, but I'm sorry if he's done a few good touches. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Few good touches, Sarpring. Yep. Sorry. No,
You're
sorry.
one of the most heavily involved wingers in that weekend.
Please. Sorry.
Lay off, man. Lay off.
No, don't even go there with me, please. Honestly,
touches of the ball.
Please, honestly, the stats don't even lie, bro. Because Stelios has put the stats in front of me, and it shows that he didn't do that much. I've got to tell you that for a fact. I don't even like stats as well, bro. Don't try and complain to the truth.
Why bring them if you don't like the stats?
But
You
yeah,
see
but the
what
main
your
event needs
eyes,
to
yeah?
speak still. The main event
See,
needs to.
no, no, no,
I
no.
know
Come
you
on,
get
come
rattled,
on.
bruv. I know I'm rattling you, bruv, but that's how it is. You know what I mean? Because the truth hurts. But the point I'm making is, yeah, the only person that I've got to say looked very good and made Madison look good as well, to be honest with you. And then you'd be surprised to know Kulu. Kulu
No,
was actually very,
yeah, no,
Kulu was
everyone,
actually very
28
good.
touches of the ball.
okay. So that's my question to all of you, right? That's going to be my first
Because
question.
the reason why, just to put some
Come on,
context to it, just to
yeah,
explain it, right?
come on quickly.
Why was Madison? Why was Madison up the pitch more? Because Kulu was doing more the work deep, right, to come forward, and also to be fair to him, that first goal was very good, and that was because of him, right? So I will give him credit because I think he did a lot of work and helped Madison be all up that pitch, and that's it. So I will give him credit for that, and that's what I'll say. Right, back to you, Marlon. I'm done.
So Ash, my question is, and I'll come to the rest of the gang in a minute. Is
Mm.
so the biggest surprise actually from the weekend is that he actually put Kulu in the number 8 position, as we call it, or CM role, right? Which against an Everton side, not brave, but it was quite different to what he's done before.
Yeah.
Did that make a massive impact to why we went out and got 4 goals, especially with like everyone? I think everyone had literally said Kulu, Kulu, Kulu as we went past.
I think with him, he gives you that ability on the ball, allows you to play higher up the pitch, allows teams to kind of. Not only can he take his man on and let the ball stick to him, but he can take 1 or 2 players out the game and drift wide at times, and also help with support that a certain number. I won't say his number actually because it's already been talked about. But yeah, he gives us a little bit more support on that right hand side, and he's quite interchangeable. Sometimes he's higher up the pitch, sometimes a little bit deeper. As Mr. Box Officer said, it allows Madison to venture forwards, run in behind, and maybe that was the reason why we're seeing Madison more as a 10 at times because of the inclusion of Kulizeski. He's just very, very gifted on the ball, but his physicality and his presence is complementary to the team, in my opinion. I don't really have too much more to say about it, to be fair. Kulu's been that guy. Would I start him against Newcastle? I think maybe that's the question we should throw out to the panel. Do you know what I mean? I'll leave it at that.
Supreme will come to you. Kulu playing in that number 8. Is it something we'll see more of this season? Or do you think
100%.
it was or do you think we'll only see it against the, as you say, the lesser sides?
I think 100% that's what's happening because we're going to see it really with the transfer window. And wanted a number 8 if he could before the window shut, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And I think the number 8 that he wanted to buy is now going to be Kulizeski. And Kulizeski said last season that he'll play his best football when he's playing in a central role. And through pre-season, he played centrally a lot of the time, 90% of the pre-season, and he looked good there. And he looked good there at the weekend. But it's like you say, there is context to a poor Everton side and going against the top side and putting him in there. And that's yet to be seen. But there was promise that he could do something in there. So I do feel as though we'll see more of it, 100%. 100%.
Dan, you obviously also mentioned how well Kulizeski played, and obviously you were shouting him to be in the middle. But was it you that said that you were quite surprised that he played in the number 8 role as well?
Yeah, I must admit, I was quite surprised they stuck him as centre mid. I can't remember seeing him play centre mid many a time. It's always been attacking midfield central or out on the right or a false 9. And yeah, I must admit, I was pretty impressed with him for what he done. I mean, one thing I've always said about him is we play him in the total wrong position, but one thing he can do is hold that bloody ball. The man's a bit of a unit, yeah. I've seen it enough times, people trying to sandwich him up and him just push him off, hold the ball, and then pass it. Yeah. He's very, very good at that. I think he's a player. He's so inconsistent that is his biggest problem. But we do play him in the wrong position. But I think he's a player we notice more when he's not there than when he is there.
I agree with that. I actually do agree because there was parts of last season when he wasn't playing that the team suffered, and everyone was like, "Why are we playing so badly?" And it was the point where Kulu was either dropped or not even on the pitch. So I do agree with that. Alex, Kulu, you said that he played well. Like something positive came out your mouth. No, in all seriousness, Kulu in that number 8 role. Do you see a future for him in there?
He needs to be consistent. He needs to be consistent. I said I think it was a big mistake signing this guy because he's just not been consistent. I said he only had 5 minutes, right, when he came here, right, and that was less than Dele Alli, and look how Dele Alli turned out. You know what I mean? So if we're gonna have a guy at Dele Alli after 2 years, I'm sorry, I'm looking at Kulu at the moment. I won't be a hypocrite though. When he played against Man City and Aston Villa, I was impressed with him when he last year. Last year when he's playing the centre, I was impressed with him. When the wing, he looks like a fullback. So I don't see the point of him being he's not a winger. He's not a winger. Sorry, he just doesn't do it for me. As a midfielder, I have said on my channel, Mr. Box Office TV, right, that he looked like Dembele. He did remind me of Dembele. I did say that, but he has not been consistent, and that is the problem with him. Again, I go back to that midfield. It is not impressing me at the moment. I'm sorry, and for me, those spots are up for grabs for me, 110%. Right, and again, I'm going back on what I said. Like, you know, because the midfields are poor. I go back on Gray. I go back on Verval. Yeah, okay, they've got a little bit about potential, but I'm sorry, I need to. I've seen potential for since 2008. Yeah, we've done nothing since. So
You're right.
You know, that's the point. But you know, it's because of that. I'd rather have Højbjerg in that midfield, and that's embarrassing. I said he's been bang average since he's been here for so long. That's embarrassing. You know what I mean? If we haven't got a number 6, why do we sell Højbjerg?
We don't play with a 6, Alex. That's just it.
I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest because I mean,
maybe
yeah,
maybe because he cost us the derby before it had even been like 20 minutes in, bro.
But the problem is though, Supreme, is that we've got nobody that has got any grit in that midfield. Yes, Bentancur, but he's just too up and down.
Unlucky, yeah. He's
up and down, and
he's up and down. He just gets injured all the time.
I know.
Syndrome.
And you can't really rely on that.
He's the only DM we've got. He is the only actual DM we have at that club.
I know, and he's brilliant.
Bentancur.
The box office is saying it's like he's good for 25 minutes and then his head's taken off or his ankle's blown to pieces. It's like,
no, the biggest problem with Bentancur, and it always was at Juventus as well, when he played a DM, deep laying playmaker sort of role, is you're right with saying his head goes off. I mean, he can have a very good game and then all of a sudden it's like someone's called him on one of his AirPods or whatever and that, and he drifts off for a moment and the ball goes straight past his feet and then all of a sudden he snaps back in and like, oh, I'm playing football. That has always been one of his biggest downfalls.
And I think against top teams, we are going to struggle.
Well, all right, Alex, would you sacrifice one of those midfielders against one of those top teams and put a double pivot of a Basuma and a Bentancur? Because but at least you've got 2 combative midfielders in the team, if that makes sense. Because Basuma, whether you like it or not, everyone says he's an 8. He's not a DM, but he has got a tackle in him. He does read the game. He can ball. And if he's got someone, I'm not saying like he needs someone to hold his hand. That's not a good thing. But if you've got 2 6s as opposed to 1 6, then we might have more of a chance on those quick transitions. Do you know what I'm trying to say? We're not going to be as open. Do you know what I mean?
Box at the midfield with the strongest physical players that you've got. You can't put like Archie Gray and Bergvall and Sarr in there. We can, but not till later on in the game.
We can't.
You need experience. This is what I said last week. Remember what I said last week? I said if you put a Locatelli next to him, who's got experience, right?
Thank you.
Matt Phillips next to him, like good. I mean, I know we had no chance of getting him, but put a Godwan that's gone to Man City, back to Man City, where next to him, he's learning from someone that's won.
Wasn't Bentancur in a 6 or a double pivot at Juventus? No.
Yeah.
He was a 6. He was a 6 basically at Juventus. He played deep line playmaker and DM.
Did he not win things, though? Did he not win things at Juventus as well?
Yeah,
Or-
but as Asmatic, I get what you're saying though. But for me, I think unfortunately he's just got that bug. He's just not. Unfortunately for me, I think he's just regressed. Unfortunately, right? And I think he's just got into that mentality.
since his injury.
He's
Look,
just regressed, and I
it is
think
the
he's
injury.
getting, and I think he's getting too comfortable as well. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's on Tottenham, unfortunately, not getting anything better than Bentancur, and that's it for me. Listen, I need to go back on your. I need to go back on your.
Alex, quick thing, mate.
Yeah.
Why is Bentancur actually going to be bothered when he's got a little boy like Archie Gray sitting behind him, who's only ever had
the point I'm making.
who's only ever had 45 minutes top football, and he doesn't even make the top 11 in the championship, and we pay 40 mil for him, and we won't go and buy Locatelli? That's Spurs all over.
Yeah, no, I know, and that's the thing. But I just need to go back on Asmatic's point, because I think he made a fantastic point. The only problem I have with it at the moment, I don't trust Basuma, and I don't trust Bentancur at the moment. That's the problem. I think you've made an absolutely fantastic point. If you gave me the option of putting Locatelli next to Archie Gray, that makes more sense, right? Put a Locatelli or Matt Phillips next to Matt Riley next to Berval, that makes sense, right? Someone experienced next to a young player, that makes more sense to me right now. So that's why. You know, I love you. I've got a lot of love. Well, I big you up a lot of the time, Asmatic. And I've got to say, even though I don't agree with the people that you're putting in that double pivot, I absolutely agree with you. I would take that all day long. Yes,
but Basuma had a good game. You got to admit, he looked high the other day.
Yeah, but the problem with Basuma is, it's cool. He's had a good game against Everton. Yeah, cool. Well, what are you going to do next, bruv?
Well, this is it. This is the point I was trying to bring up. But yeah, I think Chef wanted to say something about the double pivot. And what was it you wanted to say, bro? You wanted to come in.
It's just it's not that really. Well, I was just saying that I do believe. I think you have to play Basuma, Bentancur, and maybe Kulusevski. You have to go with your three strongest in there, because they got bullies, got Joe Linton and people like that, and you need to kick him. You need to kick him. If you don't let in, you know that you're there. He's not even a good player. He'll just bully you. He'll just take your best players out of the game. And I noticed at the weekend he got kicked and he got it put on him a bit. I forgot who they played. Was it Bournemouth? And Bournemouth and that put it in on him. They got around him and they shut down Guimaraes. And I think that's the kind of style we'll need to play. I think we can't really play any of the younger lads. I think you got to go with like Bentancur, Basuma, and maybe Kulusevski. Because you know one thing about Kulusevski that goes unnoticed when he plays on the wing or in midfield, we look far less open than the openness that we're always going to be, because he's willing to run back and he covers the ground. He knows about defending as much as going forwards. So I think the midfield has to contain him just for his defensive know-how alone.
I agree.
We can't do that. We only play with two in midfield. And
Bentancur, I think, is still concussed. I think.
No, he's allowed to play. He's allowed to play.
Yeah, he's allowed to play. But what Chef's saying, Dan,
I agree with him though.
Have two sixes as a double pivot. So you've got your Bentancur, the points. Then you play your Kulu, because he's got legs, he's got physicality, just around them. Does that make sense?
You can't.
It makes total sense. It makes total sense.
When they took us apart, it's because you got Maddison. No offense, against Arsenal and against Jorginho, of course he's going to nick the ball off him. But when he's going up against Dan Burn and people like that, they just elbow him and that, and he'll start crying to the ref. You get Kulusevski in the front of that press in the midfield. You've got somebody that will kick Dan Burn. Do you know what I mean? He'll kick him up in the air. We'll happily take the foul. We'll take the free kick. But when he's playing up against Maddison, he'll take that all day. But if you put him up against Kulusevski, he's not going to want that battle. He's going to really he's going to really have to earn his money. He's going to have to earn his 90 grand a week.
To be fair to you, Supreme, don't get used to it. But I actually think you make a very good point there. To be honest with you, mate. To be honest with you,
I like these kids and that. I like them. I like Odobert and stuff. The honest truth is, you won't like this. I don't think you play Odobert. I don't think you're playing, because the home crowd, he's unfit. This is what fit people also have to understand. He played in the Olympics. He's had a 10-day holiday. He then went and played for Burnley, 3 days training. Then we bought him, slammed him on it. The guy's not stopped. I don't think you do play him, Mr. Box Office. I think we got lucky good 6 minutes because I love this kid, and this is what I don't want to happen. I don't think you go throwing him.
Who's that? Odobert. Who's that? Odobert.
Yeah, because you know
what do you love about him? What is there to love? What did he do?
He made Maddison a better player because he could retain the ball. He took people on. He made space for Maddison to play off.
No, he didn't. No, he did not. What did you watch? Well, okay, fair enough. Let me give you some home facts here. With what he played, obviously no goals. XG 0.05, expected XG 0.03, assists 0, chances created 0, shots 1 off target, successful dribbles 2 in 6, which is what, 30%, crosses 2, accurate crosses none, long ball none. What did he do?
He also won 6 tackles, didn't he? He also won 2 drills in the air for a guy that's like 5'11". What else is he supposed to do? He's doing his job as a winger.
Well, if he's not getting the crosses in there, mate, he ain't doing his job as a winger. No, he done some good. No, he did not. He put one cross in and it went over the crossbar.
Dan, I got a question though. Dan and Box Office, because obviously you lot talk about it a bit. If I said to you now, against Newcastle, right? Who are you? You can only start one of these 3, against Newcastle. Who are you starting? Johnson, Werner, or Odobert?
Oh god, this is such a great choice.
The only one I would go with that Odobert there, because Timo Werner just shouldn't be a club.
But this goes back. He must have showed more. Like, you're giving all those stats, but he showed more in those 45 minutes than the 2 players I just.
This is what I was going to come to. This is where I was going to make it right. I actually bigged him up in the aspect of not big him up. This is the problem we have at Spurs. He does 1 or 2 things right, and then next thing you know, everyone needs to go home and get a bloody tissue because it's all got messy.
But let me finish.
Let me finish.
Werner and Brennan Johnson ain't showed much at all, but he's come on for 45 minutes. The stats don't lie.
All he done.
Don't get me wrong. The stats don't lie, and it's not about waxing lyrical. It's just look what we are comparing him to. So that's why Spurs fans are going to. Thank God, we got a competent winger.
As all he did, well, I wouldn't go that far yet. He didn't make a cross or a pass, but what I did like about him, he actually looked like he could do something with the ball at his feet. And we have not. We've only got one player. I'm also speaking his good points now as well. That's what I'm going to do. Now, with the ball at his feet, he looked quite comfortable. And the only other player we've got that looks comfortable with the ball at their feet is Maddison. No one on that pitch can dribble properly, come love nor money, as all they can do is kick it past their man and run. And half of them can't even bloody do that without falling over their boots. He looked like he wanted the ball. He looked like he wanted to do something. He looked like he was up for it. And that was one thing I liked about him. But when it comes down to the end of the day, I want my forward player to be putting crosses in. I want him to be putting passes in.
Agree, yeah.
I want him to be beating his man. And the point I'm making is, so many Spurs supporters all of a sudden just literally went into orgasm state that he was just this mental great player that we just bought. And he didn't even get a pass and a bloody cross in. He was okay. He looked okay.
Can I just add to this point? Yeah, can I just add to this point? The problem is the fault of the club putting him in that situation, right? So
I was trying to say before, he's showing promise, and I was saying that people won't like it, people won't like what I've got to say, but this is how it is for me. If Solanke's fit, he doesn't play. You know why he doesn't play? Because I don't think you throw him in at St James's Park. This is about knowing the league and about what we're up against. We haven't won there for 4 years. So my point was about Odobert. Odobert was brilliant for me. He did everything I wanted a winger to do. He had the most touches of any forward player on the pitch. It's just nonsense. He won duels. He won all of his aerial duels. He won all. I'm talking now, please. I listen to him, please. This is my point of view. Because I watched the whole game. He won his aerial duels, 5'10". He doesn't speak English. He's had 1 week's training. He had 58 touches. He's one of the most effective players that we had in that 4-0 victory. So there's an argument to say if he wasn't there, we might not have won 4-0. We might have won the normal 2-0. And just because he didn't make the assist, he played key passes, because I'm looking at it now in Sofa Score. So it's like he might not have been offensively great, but but he did the dirty stuff as well that Johnson didn't do. He did a lot of stuff that Johnson just doesn't do. So I respected his performance because he's 19 and that's his debut. But my point was, I wouldn't start him at Newcastle because I do believe at 19, and he looks unfit. The honest truth is he gave a pass away that led to a goal. And it was because he's unfit and because he was struggling for energy and he was on his last sort of, he gave us everything for 50 minutes and he had to come off. And I think Ange got it right to bring him off. But my point is, I played Maddison and Son on the flanks and I'd play Solanke up front and I'd let the game go. I'd let the game go till half time and then I'd look to bring Odobert on. That's when I'd look to bring. I wouldn't start him. I wouldn't throw him to the walls.
That is my problem, Supreme. That is my problem, Supreme. Yeah,
Alex, one sec, mate. One sec. Just one thing. Let me put one point on there. He didn't even make the top 20 list for successful dribbles. For God's sake, he was not special in that game. He was okay. He was respectable for what he was.
He had a good game. No one said.
No, he had an okay game. No, but that's just it. A lot of Spurs supporters are saying he had a spectacular game, and he really.
I'm not saying that he had a good game. He showed promise. It was a promising performance.
I'll agree with you there. Promise. I'll agree because that's what I say as well.
Can I just have a
Alex,
thing?
Go on, mate.
No. Because I like the back and forth between you two. So I'm letting you go. You know what I mean? My point is, is that I can see what you're saying, Supreme. But the problem is with this at the moment. We put him in that position when he doesn't need to be in that position. You need an established player. This is what I've been saying all this time. It's all right doing this youngster thing, but you know there's going to be a downturn, right? And you've got to stick with it, right? And that's it. And unfortunately, no top 6 club does this. Yeah, I mean, look at Liverpool. Was it that Carvalho player that they had? The Carvalho player they had. They just sold to the bloody Brentford. They just sold it to bloody Brentford. And he had huge potential. He had huge potential for him. You see what I'm saying? What we're doing, a sort of player like Carvalho, Odobert, we're making him the main player. And then we're saying, well, at least he's better than Johnson. That shouldn't be the standard. That should not be the standard. Supreme, you make this Supreme. I will give you some credit here. You make your points very, very well. I don't agree with you. But you do make your very.
What you think you should start him against Newcastle?
No. But I'm just saying you're putting pressure on him to start for Newcastle because of the quality that we've got on the flank.
No, Alex. The lack of quality is the way you want to put it.
The lack of quality.
It's not even that. I think it's experience. I think you have to go with Maddison because Maddison is effectively a left winger or a right winger in a central role. That's how he played in Leicester because he played in the back three. So he played more in
left and central.
So he can play out there. And I think you take that pressure off him for a week because we've seen he can't. We've seen after 50 minutes.
This is where we don't agree. Unfortunately, you've got a fan base like myself, like I've explained last week, and I'm not changing. No one's changing me right now because unfortunately I've gone too long with this, right? I'm fed up now. I've seen the future since 2008, right? And not a lot of the futures come through. You know what I mean? Yeah, and there's been proof of it. Watch Savage show, yeah, who's done another great show this morning, earlier today as well, putting facts on the table again. You know what I mean? But the point is, right? Unfortunately, we put him in that position, right, which is wrong, right? You put an established player who just puts the pressure off him. Right, put the spotlight off him, right, and then he can learn. You see what I'm saying, and see if he can grow, see if he can do things. You know what I mean? When you're saying he's 19 years old, yes, I understand that, but don't put him in that position. Then, yeah, you're going into a team that have not won. That's the problem here, right? You've got no leaders in that team, and I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says to me. No leaders in that team because, unfortunately, when people say to me, I heard it this morning as well on another show.
Maybe one, Alex.
Yeah. So I heard it this morning as well. They said, why are we criticizing the players? Why are we doing this? We shouldn't do that. In real life, we don't do this as well. No, right? No, right? In real life, it's unfair, right? If you're going to put yourself out there, putting yourself as a good player, right? You've got the arrogance, you've got the swag. You don't listen to those players. You just shrug your shoulder. That's why I said I wanted Ivan Toney. You shrug your shoulder and say, I don't care what you think. I can believe my ability. I'll show you. Yeah, that's what the stars did back in the 90s, no 2000s. The star players, like your Ronaldos, like your Sheringham's, like all of those players said, you know what? I don't care what you think. Care what you think. I'll show you, and they're showing it every single week. Yeah, they don't cry and go on social media and cry about it. They say, no, I'll show it on the pitch, and that's why they got the credibility that they got, and that's it. Yeah. And that's it. And if you're going to put an argument against it, who's the star for Spain? The 16-year-old, yeah, the 16-year-old for Barcelona, and he's 16 years old, and no one's bloody calling in him. Sorry if that's offensive. I'm trying to think of a different word. I do apologize for that, by the way. But the point I'm making is, right, if you're a strong guy, you've got the arrogance and the swag, and it's the fault of the club for putting him in that position. And that's it. I'm not having to go at you, Supreme, but I'm just saying it. You know what I'm like. I'm black and white, and that's it. Back to you, Marlon. I'm done. If you don't know, get to know. I'm done with this crap.
Here.
No, I think he's a promising player. I can see that the ability's there, but he needs to get fit. You know, he needs time to train and get fit mainly. For me, that's what I think he's lacking, in my personal opinion. He needs to take some time to get fit, because after 50 minutes he was struggling.
My thing on it, real quick, is, and I hear everyone's point, and the stats obviously say about successful take-ons, dribbles, whatever. But I think with him, he was more unpredictable than what we have already on those wings. So with Odobert, you didn't know if he was going to go on the left or on the right.
Great first touch.
Good first touch. There was a ball when Suma threw a ball into him over the top, and he brought it down. Not just once, twice. I thought there was times when he did that. I was like, oh, this guy's got a first touch. And for me, when I look at footballers, I always look like, have they got the first touch to get up their feet? Can they, stand their man up? And what I liked about him, even though he didn't always beat his man, the fact that he was brave, I give that to him. Compared to our wingers, they're not always brave.
And unlike Johnson, he doesn't just moan. He actually tries to get back and win the ball back, and he tracks man back. So he knows his defensive responsibilities.
I'm even going to look at his ball carrying, because that wasn't mentioned in those stats. Ball carrying for me is just as important as dribbling and taking your man on. So you're not always going to, be able to beat your man. Sometimes it's a thing where, can you link play? And I think, like you said before, Supreme, he linked well with Maddison. The little link plays made Maddison, as we said before, look good. But he's still young. End products, we've spoken about that already. Needs to work on that. Left foot crosses. I would like to see him on the right, if I'm being honest. But to caveat that, I think if you're going to have a dribbly winger on one flank, I would maybe have a Son, which is more of a goal threat on the right. A bit like you see with other teams. They kind of one person that can beat a man on the left, and then the one on the right, they're the person that kind of, they're the ones that goal threat. They go in behind. So say there's a Dom Solanke, or say it's Kulusevski up top. They hold the ball up, and then they find Son running in behind, but from the right-hand side. And that could be something slightly different. That's what I wanted to say.
The question I got with that, Ash, is one thing we don't have at Spurs. Well, we do have at Spurs, but again, we don't do it because Ange just hasn't got a bloody clue what he's doing 9 times out of 10. Is we don't actually have no one who can cross that ball. Nobody can sit here and tell me right now that Odobert is a good crosser of the ball. No one can tell me that. We don't know that. He might come good, but the only man we have, two men maybe, that can cross the ball is Porro and Maddison. Now, the problem is, if you go and do that, my choice, I'd have Porro up there. To me, they're doing a bail with him, basically. They're playing him in the wrong bit where you get the most out of him up the top. We need someone who can cross that ball in there. And the other problem is with Son, I just don't think he's got it so much anymore to play on the left or play on the right, because he is losing pace. He's still got it, but he's losing it, and that's purely down to age. Son's better position these days is a central, but the problem is with him in the central, where we get so blocked up in the middle, we get crushed up. We need someone who we know for a fact can cross this ball, because the only one we've got is our right wing back, and he's young. We don't know what he's got a lot to learn. And
I
what are
would-
we going to live on for the rest of the season? 19-year-olds who just have no experience in that. And you'll be gone by Christmas.
I would say, I would say personally that Porro does go out to the right at times. I think it's a positional thing. So sometimes, like I saw it, Porro was doing diagonals at the edge of the box. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't always hugging that touchline, getting chalks in his boots. Sometimes he was doing it from a little bit deeper, and he's doing those balls over the top, which he's really good at. He's like a weapon when you're trying to find someone.
He's excellent at it.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? So you get a little bit more versatility at Porro when you've got him playing not just solely on the right, but he can hurt teams if they give him time and space in that midfield because he can skip and do a Trent, essentially. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what Trent did at Liverpool, does at Liverpool. That's what you're going to get from Porro, in my opinion, in that position. I do
the problem is
more players that can go this Porro that can deliver, and like you said, Maddison's probably one of them. Kulu obviously likes to cut onto his left foot a lot of the time, and so those balls don't always come in. But we were complaining the other day as Spurs fans, oh, we do the same type of ball. We go down the flank and then we just fire it across the box and we score a goal. So like we scored different goals on Saturday, in my opinion. We opened up them in different ways. So for me, that's slightly promising if I'm going to be like slightly positive in that end. But I do hear what you're saying. Like, we're not really a team to get our wing backs like a Doggy or Porro to go down the channels and then whip balls in.
Like they should do.
Now you've got a Slanky there that can finish it, or even a Richarlison. But at the same time, we're playing in different ways. We can open teams up. So, well, go on, Alex. Go on.
Well, I sorry to interrupt you, mate, but I just come up with an idea. We'll link with this Vanderson person, yeah? Right? Why don't you just put Porro more forward, right? Maybe just replace him with Johnson, because let's be honest here, Johnson's pointless, right?
No maybe about it. Do it.
just put him there, right? Because for me, he's our best crosser, right? And I think he's been impressive in my eyes, right? Okay, and then have this new signing Vanderson there. You know what I mean? Or if he's believing Jed Spence that much, play him there then. You know what I mean?
The other problem is, Alex, is again back to the manager's tactics on why he would never, ever, ever, ever win anything in a decent league. And no one tell me the Scottish Premier League is a decent league because it's ranked lower than the bloody American League. And Maddison, the biggest problem is he's got no bloody space. He's sitting there with two centre mids behind him, two inverted wing backs as a 10, two inverted forwards, and a striker in front of him. He's got 6 foot either side of him. You see it several times happen in that game where he looks there. He's got a man 6 foot there, and there. It's Angie's tactics. He needs to get it together. And that is also the reason we concede so many bloody goals, because we got centre backs sitting on the halfway line with our wing backs that are actually overdraft wing backs, overlapping wing backs, playing as a bloody inverted number 10. It's crazy. Against a better team, we get cooked.
I think these next couple of, because I've looked at the fixtures and they look challenging. They look challenging. I've got to be honest. I looked at them and I was like, oh my gosh. Right. So I think we're gonna find out a lot about our team in these games. I've got to be honest. Right. But I do feel that we can use our players better in certain aspects, and I think Porro being further forward, and then I mean we are linked with this Vanderson person. He could be our right back, and then you see what you can do with the left back as well, and the left midfielder. I kind of would go with what you're saying, Supreme. Maybe you would play Odobert by default at the moment, and then you just got Solanke. Well, when he gets back,
I'd play Maddison on the wing. To be honest with you, that's what I was saying.
Do you know what? I've said that.
I said I would start Maddison on the wing. I'd go with all experienced players there. I don't think you can go. We can't go to St James's Park, Mr. Box Office, with some kids, mate.
Fair enough.
I love Odobert, you know I do, but I don't think you can go there.
Right
and, you know, he after 50 minutes was blowing out of his ass. You know, for you it wasn't, but for me it was a very good 50 minutes. But it was a bit like a Brennan Johnson performance in that you got what you got out of him after those amount of minutes, and anything after that you're putting yourself in danger because he wasn't physically up to the task of playing in that high level game. So Ange had to bring him off. Ange would have played him for 90 minutes, but he couldn't play Odobert for 90 minutes because he just wasn't fit enough to do it. That's when he gave the pass away.
And he wasn't doing anything either. And he wasn't wasn't doing anything either.
Once he gave that pass away, it made him a bit scared then. He kind of thought, I'm unfit, I've just done that, I need to kind of chill. And in that formation, you can't really take a breather. And I think you have to go there with See, if you go there with Maddison on the wing, he's he can be a luxury part, but I just don't think you can have a weak part in the midfield when you go to Newcastle because they're so big and so strong in midfield.
But the other thing is, you're right about Maddison. I've said this on my channel and other people's channels before. You know what? Give Maddison some breathing space, put him out on the left because England have done it and he's done it for Leicester quite a few times. But again, I go back to my problem. We don't play with wingers. We play with inverted forwards. That is why it is so bloody congested in there that we can't get through it half the time with a half-decent team who just sits back, and why we find it so hard to bring them down because we got no one who comes down the flanks. And so Maddison would just be played as an inverted forward, basically, inside forward, and he'd be sitting back in his number 10 position, along with Porro, along with Udogie, along with whoever's on the right, along with Porro and everyone else. Ange has not got a Scooby-Doo what he is doing.
I love you, Dan. I'm gonna try and keep off the Ange subject because everyone knows what I feel about Ange, right? But what I will say is, right, and Supreme, you got to listen to this very hard. If he takes out that dribbling ability of Odobert, I will be so unhappy with him. Right?
Yeah,
I'll be so unhappy with him because
turns
for me,
him into Brennan Johnson, a hit and hope winger.
Yeah. I do not want that dribbling ability taken out of him. I'm sorry. I'll be so annoyed because for me is the potential of someone that can do something special, right?
Yeah.
Right. But that's raw talent that needs to be worked on, right? And unfortunately, Stella's made a very good point. He was coming more inside in the second half, which I'm hoping that's not instruction from the manager. I really hope that's not instruction from the manager because I really think, for me, you should be because I don't think people get it. When you've got a winger that goes past their man, you're drawing in defenders. You're drawing in the people there, and what's happening? There's more space for other players like your Maddisons. Like you made a very good point. He's drawing in the defenders and drawing in other players from your position. So what's happening? The space for other great players that we've got like Maddison, Kulu, and what they're doing going to do damage to your position. You know what I mean? So there's more space for them, and that's it. So one thing I will say, because I've got to leave it back to my boys Marlon and Ashmatic, especially Marlon, who's just said nothing since then. So I do apologise, Marlon, because I do love you, mate. The point is, right, is that I'm being nice to you, Marlon. Take it, and love it, yeah. The point is, right, is that I do not want him taking away, right, the dribbling ability of this guy. I hope he just enhance it, yeah, because we need to do that more often. You know what I mean? Because that's what's going to make us better, in my opinion. That's it. Back to you, Marlon. I'm done.
But what I would say is, because for me, his decision making was a little bit off. So like Brennan Johnson, he hits it too early. And I thought with Odobert, sometimes he cut in, then he cut again, then he cut again. I'm like, brother, just put the ball into the box. Once you get that little space, that little gap, that's all you need to put a ball into the box. Whether it's accurate or not, that's something different. You know what I'm saying? A big up to the man in the chat. Please make sure you smash and like the button as you go along. It helps us a lot. But anyway, I thought he was inverting to lick off shots on his right foot because he can do that. So that's what I was kind of looking to see that. I'm like, raw. That is the trend. That is the fashion. So one of your wingers to hug the touchline. One of your wingers come inside. They get on their favorite foot and they shoot. One thing I will say about Odobert is obviously he can use his left and he can use his right. So if he does come in like you were saying, box office comes in, I just want to see a shot at the end of it. Do you know what I'm saying? Either you have a shot at the end of it, or you keep on the outside and you cross it, and that way you become ultra unpredictable. And you're like, raw, how do we handle him? And then that way, yeah, you're right. Do they put two men on him? And does that give space to Maddison? Does that give space to Kulu? Does that give space to Son? Do we hurt teams in different ways? That's what I'm going to throw in there. You know what I'm saying? But go on, Marlon.
No. So the next topic was, and you've kind of touched on already, And the next thing I'm going to bring up, I have been given permission by this person to show this tweet that they had sent, right? And I just want to get everyone's opinion on it and how they're feeling about this player, right? And we are talking about Brennan Johnson here, right? So the tweet was, right, and it's caused a lot of stir on X, right? A lot of stir. So I want to discuss the tweet, not the person, the tweet, right? So it says, Brennan Beetlejuice Johnson scores the winner against Newcastle, and fans will say we've got our Brennan back. And Johnson has silenced everyone. Then he goes missing for the next 4 games, and the same fans will ignore his abysmal performances. Right? So, obviously, we know fully who this person is, right? But let's talk about Brennan Johnson. There's been a lot of stuff going on about Brennan Johnson on social media, YouTube, wherever, right? And everybody, I think, for most people, can see that he's not had the first 2 games of not being great, right? So my question to all of you is, what do we do with Brennan Johnson?
Get rid of him.
Yeah, Brennan Johnson right now is 0 confidence. Technical ability in a Spurs shirt, not seeing a whole great deal of it. He's a player that I feel like you use him to run in behind. He doesn't really use his pace for me effectively in the way he can do or he should do. His crossing, as I said before, sometimes he hits it too early because it's like an instruction. Like he doesn't mix his game up enough, in my opinion. Sometimes you got to mix it up. Sometimes go short and go long. Sometimes go long and then go short, and you lose your marker that way. Sometimes rather than hugging the touchline, you come in slightly. I remember when they did that with Saka. Saka was always just on the touchline, and then they said, what you do is when the fullback or the centre back's got the ball, invert slightly into that half space. Then you can receive it in a diagonal. You're making an angle. Then you pick the ball up on the half turn. You're gone. Do you understand? Can he open his body up? Can he get his body up where rather than having your back to goal, open your hips, receive that ball, and then you're ready to go straight down the line? You know what I'm saying? He needs, as Mr. Box Office says, a bit more arrogance, a bit more nastiness about his game. And I think if he was to add something like that, I don't know if it's in him because I've been trying to bring it out of him. I'm calling him baby boy J, like mama boy, whatever you want to call him. I just want to see that aggression, that aggressive side, that kind of nastiness. What I saw a bit of in Forest, but I don't know if Forest is his level and this jump up's too much because sometimes it's a case of big fish in a small pond. I hope that's not the case, but for whatever reason, Angie's living and dying by the sword because he keeps playing him like he's saying, look, I don't care what happens. Brennan Johnson, that's my guy. That was my player. I want him, and he needs to start. But for me, yeah, I just think even if like he goes in and he's not crossing, he's not doing that same cross. He's more of a goal threat where he comes in, uses that pace, runs in behind, one-on-one with a keeper, and gets shots off. I want to see a little bit more of that, but we're not seeing any of that at the moment. What we're more seeing is, and people are like, "Oh, you're too harsh on him." No, I just need to see. I need to see a lot more for me. Like I was trying to back him at the start. I'll be real. I was trying to back him, but now he's got to impress me.
Question though for you, Ash. Question for you though, because you said earlier about you want him to change up his game, but last season it was relatively successful for him. He had 10 assists, 5 goals from it.
I'd say effective.
Yeah.
Effective.
So, why would And want him to change it if that's what he was pulling off last year?
I just think in that position where, yes, he was effective, in my opinion. I wouldn't say he was improved in that position. The reason why I say that is because he came off the bench and he made a lot of assists. So when teams were tired, against tired legs, he would come a bit like what Supreme was saying with Odobert. He had a lot more energy, a lot more pace, a lot more reserve in the tank, and then he's more effective in the team. Do you know what I'm saying? But a lot of the times when he did start, he didn't produce enough, in my opinion. So much so that we played him on the right, and everyone's like, "Oh, right's his best position." Oh, actually, no, play him on his left so he can shoot more. We played him on the left, he stunk it out. Then we put him back on the right, he stunk it out. you know what I'm saying? It's only when he came off the bench, I felt like, okay, Johnson's doing something and he's being effective. And then, like, you know what? Some of the fans are complaining about, oh, we do the same thing. We run down the line and we cross the ball across the box. That's just basically Ange ball. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, like you said, he's effective. So that's basically Johnson summed up for me in a Spurs shirt. Do you know what I mean?
Johnson, the thing with him is it turn up for 5 minutes out of 90 minutes and he might get across little dirty crossing across the floor on his 20th attempt. It might actually get through. Or I must admit, he scored some goals. He looked absolutely excellent standing on that goal line, just tapping it in. He's crap. He's absolutely useless. When he's got the ball, he looks more scared than the boy with his first girlfriend and his first kiss. He's absolutely crap. He can't even use his pace to his ability and just toe punt it past his man and run. And the only time he managed to do that the other day, what did he do? Dribble it off the bloody pitch. The boy is useless if you want to improve as a good team. Now, if you want to be Nottingham Forest or Leicester or Ipswich or something, bring my man on. Perfect. You want to be a team that wants to get in top four, that wants to start winning cups and that. He shouldn't even be on our subs bench. 50 million, we got caught with our pants down. 110%.
Not in Ange's eyes. Not in Ange's eyes. So I was speaking to.
Oh, that's half the problem. Look what Ange has bought up front, for God's sake. Ange was complaining about our how we ain't critical, and he goes and re-signs bloody Timo Werner. He goes and spends 50 million on Johnson. He goes and buys Ales or whatever his name is, who's had what, one game for us and that. And look at what he has actually done. What he's bought up for. Oh, what? Solomon. Oh, yeah. Where's Solomon now? He's another one that's gone. These are all Ange's picks. Remember, Ange stated clear as day. I pick my players. I pick who we buy. His words. I hold him to his words because I give him credit.
Think it's bigger than that, though.
Johnson. Well, then Ange should have kept his mouth shut.
I mean, Ange's sort of credibility and his career now rests on the fact, like you said, in Ange's eyes now, in my eyes, from Ange's point of view, with how Levy is, he's wasted a player there because he's bought Solomon, who had injury problems before he came here, big injury problems, and he's obviously been shafted by accepting him, and now he's had him loaned out, and yeah, he's got Odobert, and he's got rid of Gill, but he's only had Odobert in to replace, so he's basically given up two wingers because they were poor choices and got one back in return. And like we'll see now with the end of the window, Levy might pull him something out of the Levy bargain bin. But
hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Who stated I pick my players? I pick who we buy.
I agree with you, but I'm saying those two poor picks have left him now with a situation where he's now only going to get Odobert, and he said yes to Solomon, and he said yes to Werner, and he said yes to he said yes to them too, and now he said yes, knowing that he's given up Gill. So the two wingers that he should have in, he's still only got one in because he's had to give up Solomon to Leeds because he's not good enough. So I'm saying,
and he's only got himself to blame for it. Yeah, it's his own. It is his own fault.
His system relies on having two wingers. Let's say we could pick two wingers now.
Why does he keep playing Johnson then? Why does he keep playing him? I mean, they must have a good relationship off the pitch, and it probably involves pictures, for God's sake. He's absolutely shockingly bad, that player.
I don't want him playing, but he spent 50 million on him, and now he's reluctant to play him. It's how it is, isn't it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we went and spent 65 million on bloody Richarlison, and we just done 65 million on Solanke, who's had one good season and 21 games at Liverpool and scored a goal. Got totally booted out of Chelsea and he's succeeded in the Championship and he's had one good season. It's Spurs all over. We are pathetic when it comes to buying players. Or our manager is definitely poor at picking players. Anyone who goes and repicks Timo Werner, for me, get out of my club.
The problem is West Ham go and get Kudos.
That's the problem. I was about to say.
That's the problem.
I was about no, but not even that, Mr. Box Office. You can go and get a dinger for 2.5 million and develop him properly. Send him on a proper loan, not like what we do. Just send our players wherever we can cram them. Yeah, send him on a proper loan. Yeah, go and buy one of the best teams in Europe for 25 million. And then if he doesn't work out, well, you've got a dinger anyway. You've got Matoma anyway. They understand that having good wingers in the Premier League is a must. So they've now got two that all forward get in our team, bruv.
The thing is,
I'm not speaking the rest about Brighton's team, so I think the defence is shocking.
No.
But when you look at what they've done, when you look at what they've done, Mr. Box Office, you know what they've said? Goals win your games. Yeah. And they've always got, look what they did at the weekend. They had no right to win that game last minute, but they just brought a dinger on. Just brought him on, get a goal. We haven't got that.
Listen, Supreme, the man down there, right? And I'm looking at down there, you know who I'm talking about, Ashmatic. I'm looking at you right now. Puts people on the table to us, players on the table to us for free, right? For everyone to view, right? The same guy that got was it Calavinga? Was it what is it? Was that player that went to Arsenal? Showing the player that Arsenal that Steelers was absolutely mesmerised by? I can't remember his name. Calafori, yeah?
Yeah. Paratici.
He's the one that put it across, right? When no one was talking about him, and this guy did it, right? Himself. Right, he's brought a lot of wingers that I've seen. You go and look back at some of these shows, by the way, that this guy's brought to the table, right? And some of them will get into the team more than bloody Timo Werner was, and that's it. So what is the excuse? What is the excuse? Brennan Johnson, all this.
He's in the meetings, but he's not involved in skating.
So what is the excuse right now that we can't get decent wingers? And my boy here is finding wingers for free. Free. You know what I mean? It's embarrassing. I'm sorry. I've got to respect my boy Dan because he's just acing it right now. Not bantering you, Supreme, because you're holding your own here. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying the battle here between you two. I've got to be honest. You know what I mean? But the point is, it's embarrassing. I'm sorry. Yeah, we should have got Elise was on the table, right? I'll get Elise tomorrow. I know he went to Bayern Munich, but I'll take him tomorrow because he's got the arrogance, the swag, and all that. Because he's looking at it and saying, you know what? I'll show you, bro. I'll keep quiet. I don't care. But I'm a silent person that I could do it right now in my sleep. You know what I mean? Quality player. Yeah. We had Eze on the table, 60 million. Why don't you go and get him? We waste our money on bloody Archie Gray. I'm sorry. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Yeah, and that's it. I'm sorry. Yeah, and back to you, Marlon. I'm done. I'm rinsed that absolute piece. I had enough. Sorry, not the show, not you lot. I've had enough.
It is mental, though. It is mental. If the window ends tomorrow, I'm disappointed. I can't lie.
The fact that we're arguing who plays on the left, Odobert or Werner or whoever, says it all.
It's like
that says everything about Spurs.
To be fair, Son will probably start on the left.
Werner doesn't come into the conversation. My man just holds wood now. He knows it.
Look,
you know he's there. Werner, he's there to do the modelling of the new green kettle when we do a new track. Werner ain't playing. He knows it. Do you know what I love? He said, "I'm comfortable in London." I love that. He doesn't talk about playing football. I'm comfortable in London. Yeah, bro.
Well, hang on a minute. No, let me hold you to that one. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have said we're going to play. I mean, we've only bought one player that slightly improves that first 11, and that is Solanke. And only time will tell with that. Yeah, the rest of it is all just, if anything, our subs bench looks even weaker than it did before. And with that, as all we are doing is bringing in schoolboys, basically. That is all we've done. This team, the fact that we debate over who would you play on the left, and going with Werner quickly, my point here with Werner, people say that, well, Richie does have to get played because he costs 65 million. Solanke has to play because he costs 65 million. People down the chat and other channels I've been on, but we got to play Johnson. He costs 50 million. Timo Werner's on 165 grand a week on loan. He's going to play.
Yeah, I hear it, but not much.
165 is a lot, mate.
165 million.
No, I agree with you. Levy won't have him just there paying that money. I hear what you're saying because it's coming out monthly. So Levy will want his money's worth. We've seen it with Soldado. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm just letting you all know that, like, he will be hitting on the bench more than he'll be hitting on the pitch.
That's
He
why we
needs
should
to
never.
hope people get injured. That's all he can hope
Supreme.
for.
That's why we should never have bought him in the first place.
No, we should
You know what
never
I
have got him
mean?
because Chiesa's going at the moment for 11 million. Yeah, you've got the boy over in France who what he's got, Brennan Johnson will never have what Cherokee's got, and like we've got Johnson, and at the weekend his first touch was horrific. His first touch is a trip to A&E. It is horrendous. When Cootie put that ball into Odobert, whether you two like it or not, Mr. Box Office, you know what I mean? He can take the ball down, so there's hope for him. But Brennan
It looks like he's got ball control.
Yeah, Brennan, you can't play that ball to. They don't trust him.
You can't play any bloody ball to him. You can't play any ball to him. Look at that. No, you can't. Look at that good cross that Maddison done over to it. Look at what Maddison done. Maddison put it straight over everyone. He was there on his own. He had all the time in the world, and then he had a bloody panic attack as soon as the ball came to him, and it clipped off his feet and off the bloody
pitch. What I'm
pitch.
saying is, he wants to play whip it ball, where you put the ball in front of him, and then he just runs onto the end.
The only thing that needs whip it with Johnson, he needs to get whip it and whip himself to get better. Maybe if Ange give him a whip, he'd get better. He's terrible.
Yeah, his first touch is bad.
His whole game is bad. He is shocking. I mean, like I said, get Ange out there to get the whip on his leg like a horse. Maybe he'd do something. He looks like he needs his mum next to him on the bloody pitch. He should be wearing Pampers. He's that crap.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying in that front line against Newcastle. I don't think he's going to do it. I think Johnson will start again, but I would switch. I would try something different on that right wing, and maybe make it more of a goal threat. That's all. Do you know what I mean?
I've said that Johnson might start again.
The question is, with like, I know we're all talking about, but who the hell's going to play on that right? No one. Like Kulu's not good enough to play on the right. We've all said it earlier. He's better centrally. Werner can't play on the right. Johnson is probably the best solution. The only person, and Supreme saying don't start Odobert. So the only other option is Son. But then who's going to play on the left? Well, then you're stuck with Werner, I suppose. So
no, Maddison. No, if I was going to do with it, I'll go with what my man up here says, because I've said it before.
But he's not going to do that. This is worst case scenario, but he's not going to do that. He's not going to play Maddison. We'll all be honest, he's not going to play Maddison. We have to think like Ange now. We can't. I know what we're thinking.
I'm sorry, I can't agree with that, Marlon. I can't think Ange like that. I could pick a better football team and better tactics than that man.
Hear me out. The reason why I said he'd do it, because he did it last season. When we started losing games against all Liverpool and Chelsea, go on Google and go look at your midfield setup. And
he did it. It didn't work.
But it did in the fact that I think if he would have played his normal way, like people are saying, I think we could have lost 4 and 5 now. I think that because he played the 3 in midfield.
He still but the fact is he still changed it during that bad period because the Chelsea game was the prime example where he literally changed up his tactics, but just nothing was working. Like he has tried to change it and nothing was working.
But what I'm trying to say is that's Ange playing a more recessive version of his football, putting more physical bodies in there because he's not going to change his tactics. There's only one thing he's doing from game to game is flipping that midfield free. He's either playing it more attackingly and he's having 2 people with like playing Basuma behind him, or he's playing it the other version where he's having Basuma with somebody next to him and just one person at the front of that midfield.
So
I can't see him.
The only thing I'd say is the only thing I could say is he could because of the surprise of Kulu of where he played on Saturday, possibly he could throw a surprise out there. But I personally don't think, even though I do agree with you lot about Maddison, I just don't think Maddison will play in that middle no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Ange hasn't got the brain philosophy of the football to change anything. For me, he's just so set in it. Do you know what? He's like Conte. Only difference is Conte won things, big things, real things, not just little Scottish leagues.
We're going to see massive changes.
They're both stubborn in their way and they play their way. Except Ange just cannot seem to work out that just basically playing with 2 defenders, scoring the same, conceding the same goals. Do we agree on 8 times out of 10 every game? Gets told on TV that, mate, your zonal marking ain't working. Do you know what, mate? I've got bigger fish to fry in Australia. And then decides to change it on 36 games. If it wouldn't have been for him being such a stubborn or so naive or just not having a clue, we wouldn't have conceded, quarter of the goals we did, and we should have finished fourth, purely on Angie's head. By the end of the season, it looked like he'd lost half the team, and half the team just didn't even like his tactics.
Do you think we defended better on Saturday on set pieces, on like corners?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think Everton were just absolutely awful. I've got to be honest. The
reason why I say no, right, is because of those. You see those three corners that happen one after the other, Not one of them was defended and no one took control of that situation, and it was ping ponging around the box, and you're like, come on, this is just a corner, and Everton ain't even got their strongest lineup out there attacking these corners. Otherwise, if it was
anything about them, they would have scored.
As they did last year, they would have probably scored from one of them. And that's, even though we didn't concede from the corner, I would sit here and say, not any of us right now, when we watched that, felt comfortable with the way we defended those corners.
And also Marlon, I have to add as well that we lost the ball a few times as well in the game as well, didn't we? Remember? And we didn't get away. We got away with it because our team was so. Hey, he's not a fraud. I love you, Scott M, because you really support me. But he's not a fraud, Marlon.
Me and Scott M always go at it, man. Don't worry.
Yeah, cool. He's not a fraud. I've got to back my boys. Here. I've got to back my boys.
But I want to hear Supreme after that. Supreme, like you've said, you thought we defended better. That's how I saw it, and I would have been like, there was four corners. I think they haven't had four corners, and they all defended the same way, and we didn't get it out straight. There was no one attacking it. It was literally ping ponging about, and you're like, come on. This is the same as last year. We're just lucky that Everton were probably Everton, and this is why it'd be quite interesting to see how we go against Newcastle, because they're going to be so different from the corners.
I thought they were all right, but like they weren't.
Was you comfortable? That's my question. Yeah,
we were shocking at corners last season, so anything is an improvement. And I thought, I thought when Richarlison come on, especially because he comes back for corners, I thought they were better, but. I'll be honest with you, like you're asking me, are they better? Yes. Are they at the standard they need to be? No. That's the honest reality.
Would you really say that was better? I mean, okay, we didn't concede, but I'm with Marlon. They were still zonal marking, and when the ball came over, they looked like a bunch of boys at a bloody trance rave.
But you can talk about, how bad they were. We conceded 18 goals from set plays,
We were 16th worst. In the Premiership,
and those 18 goals, when you work out, we were conceding a goal every other game from a set piece. So we've had 2 games. That's already showing that they're slightly better. But what you have to understand is we conceded corners to crap teams anyway. So it doesn't matter. That's what you have to understand. You can't just say Everton is shit because we conceded corners to shit teams.
You can. They are shit.
No. You're not giving it context. Listen to what I'm saying. Conceded 18 set-piece goals. So we conceded against the worst teams that were fighting for relegation anyway. So what I'm trying to say, where it's credit's due, every other game we were conceding a goal from a set-piece. So we've had 2 games already, and already we haven't conceded one. But is it at the standard it needs to be? No. But the problem is, when it was that bad, you can't expect to fix it overnight. They don't know how to defend corners.
No. I disagree with that one. Yeah, as all you have to do with that one. I mean, from when I was a kid, when you played bloody football, as all you ever had was 1 or 2 zonal markers, and that was one who was sitting on the posts, or maybe even one on the penalty spot. The rest of it, mark your man that is closest to your size, basically.
When we played them last season and we went 2-0.
I could sit there and tell that defence how to defend a set piece better than bloody Ange. You could do it. Anyone in here could do it.
We went 2-0 up against Everton last season. Richarlison scored 2 pretty decent goals, and we were absolutely cruising. There went no problem. And then towards the end of the game, they just pushed all their men up front. They started smashing the ball up. They got a few corners, and the corners were like penalties last season. Every time we had some other corner, it was near enough a goal. So
took words out of my mouth. That's what I said.
So it's like that's how bad it was. So you have to be balanced, do you know what I mean? By saying it's better, but it's not at the standard of like It's not at the standard of the top 5 teams. That's the reality.
No,
And that's
it's not at the standard because our defending on the corners was absolutely awful. It's just Everton are that shit that they couldn't do anything with it. That is the only reason. That is the only reason we didn't concede with
last
the
season
corners.
we were conceding.
We had about 6 or 7 people in the box heading the ball to each other, having a punch up basically with the Everton players. And it only came to the point where one of them said, "You know what? When in doubt, bang, kick it out." It was chaos in there. That is not better defending. That is just Everton being shit.
If I'm going to be balanced, I would say Everton were missing their set piece threat in Braithwaite. I think he's a monster, and I thought he caused us a lot of problems last season. Their centre back, he's like 6 foot tall. He's young, but he's a menace when it comes to the set piece. Even Jarovski, he was slightly injured, so he wasn't really.
He wasn't fully fit.
Yeah, he wasn't really as sharp as he could have been on those set pieces. Do you know what I'm saying? But to caveat that and to back Supreme a little piece is to say that we did get bodies in the way. So even though it was ping ponging and we should have cleared our lines, we should have got it out the first time, the very fact that we were in the mix of it, trying to get bodies in the way, stop that from going on. That is, but I'm not gonna lie, Marlon's right. Every time, and I think it's because of PTSD, I was feeling nervous on corners each time.
Yeah, every time I see a corner, I'm worried because it's like a penalty against us. Like,
yeah, it's what happened last.
But this is it's frightened the perspective a little bit. I didn't feel like against Leicester, the corners that came in, I thought we were a lot better defending those. But actually, it was always going to be a test when we played Everton. And as you guys say, they didn't have their threat. So the corners were still technically the same, but they're not their threat. So my worry is going to be when we do play teams that are going to be better threatening from corners, is it going to be any better? At this present moment, from what I've seen, probably not. That's all I'm looking at here.
Yeah,
and we're going to get battered by Arsenal, by the way.
And that's my biggest worry because if we go,
by the way,
because Arsenal,
the way they haven't played well, by the way, and they still won. They still won. That's the worry.
It's going to come down to the Arsenal game. And that's my biggest worry is that if we go into anything like we did last year, you're going to get the Højbjerg situation. I know Højbjerg scored an own goal, but it was down to the way we defended set pieces anyway, that he was caught the wrong side.
I agree with you, but I just think, just to add on to that, they're going to be our biggest test. Do you know what I'm saying? After that, and if we like somehow manage to get through that, like not conceding set piece from Arsenal, then
they haven't scored from one yet, have they? And didn't they score all their friendlies a set piece?
They're the hardest test we have. I genuinely believe, and I think if we pass that, then we might we will concede less. I'm not saying we won't concede any set pieces, but we may concede less goals from those positions.
I do agree with Supremers to go. Actually, you have to look at it and go 2 games in, and we haven't conceded, but I want to see us after 5 games in.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. As I said, don't get me wrong. It's not a nice watch. I'm not confident when I see the ball go down on the edge of the box.
Let me ask you.
But just little things that were shit at. Like when Eze scored that free kick against the run and play, like he's put the ball down, everybody's talking, not paying attention, and all he had to do was wasn't really a quality free kick. It was the fact that we were so disorganised, there wasn't even a wall in front of him that was going to stop him. So he just smashed the ball into the bottom corner. And they look at each other like nonchalant. Like whenever there's a dead ball around our penalty box, I'm worried, isn't it? The coach.
Let me ask you a question then. Let me ask you a quick question then. Yeah, we didn't concede on set pieces. Fine, I'll give you that one. Yeah, but after seeing the way that we didn't concede on those set pieces, are you any more confident with our defending on set pieces?
I'm more confident with what it was, but we're still going to concede goals. Yeah, we're still going to concede goals. Because I just feel as though you can't sort that problem out that quick. You know, we conceded 18 goals from corners. But
you can sort it out that quick if you just tell the defenders to man mark, not zonal mark.
Your other problem that you've got when you talk about zonal marking and that, the guy that you've got coaching him, the players are more experienced than the defensive coach, isn't it? Got Jedinak there. He does it. Ryan Mason does the offensive coaching, and he's taken over from the little wizard Gio. But the thing is, he's got the same amount of goals from offensive corners by 1 goal. So we're not worse off on offensive set pieces. But on defensive set pieces, we're worse off because Stellini was conceding like 9 or 11, maybe. Whereas, obviously, we were at double that with Jedinak. But Jedinak, before he came to Spurs, was coaching under 17s before he came here. So the man coaching the players is was never as good as Van der Ven or Romero or Dragusin as a player. And then he's only been coaching for like a year. And that's why you've got this. Now you've got this perpetual problem where you're thinking, why aren't they sorting that out? Why aren't they changing this one? Because the man coaching's not experienced enough to change it.
So how many did we concede on set pieces then?
About 18, 20.
And how much do you think we'll concede this year?
About 11, 14. Well, no, 11's too low. About 14, because he's still the coach.
Yeah, okay. Do you know what? Then I'll make you right. Yeah, then we've improved. Big improvement, isn't it?
But if I'm honest with you, I think if you got a decent coach, yeah, with the players that we've got, we should be conceding like 9 or 10. You know,
well, I'll tell you another thing.
I think
if we got a decent manager that can manage the players in the right position with the right formation, that can actually tell the players to play at their best, what they're good at, we could fight for a lot more. But when you've got a manager who just plays this suicide football and then actually puts players in positions, okay, it's their position, but tells them to play against their ability as such, maybe we'd be better if we had a coach who could do that as well.
Yeah,
or a manager.
We need a better defensive coach, because it's like me being the defensive coach. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't tell Mickey Van der Ven or Romero how to defend corners. What can I teach them? That's what you've got going on at the training ground. Everything else,
you just tell them to mark their man. You just say, mark your man. Don't just stay there. Look at what Arsenal done to us, yeah? We all there in the middle. Arsenal weren't even in the bloody penalty area.
I know Will say
that. The ball comes over, all the Arsenal players come running in. Bang, there you go. And how many teams did that? But no.
I know you'll say that, but it's deeper than that, isn't it? Jedinak's Australian. He played under Anjan. There's a bit of a loving going on, and it's costing us. I don't agree with the coaching, because that's what the problem is. When I tear it back, I look at the defenders. The defenders are good enough. So then when I look deeper into it, what's changed? Well, Stellini's gone. Oh, the Wizard's gone. Oh, so who's coaching him how to defend? Oh, a man that's been coaching for 18 months. And what was he coaching? Our under 17s and under 18s. And that's what's not changing. That's why I'm saying that I would prefer to be trying to get to 10 to 12 conceded goals from corners minimum. But I know with that coach, he's learning on the job. And the players are more experienced than him. They're better players than he ever was. Mickey Van der Ven and Romero and Dragusin are all better players than he ever was. He's getting relegated with Aston Villa. He will teach you how to get relegated. And look, we have got the defensive record from corners of a team in relegation. So it's very simple in this life. You get what you pay for. So you get Jedinak in, who's a successful guy in getting relegated and conceding 20 goals from corners. And he's now coaching our players, and we have very much strong assets to our game, but he's somebody that's working against us, because the only thing he knows is conceding 20 goals from corners. Probably the improvement.
I'll get you.
Probably the improvements that he sees or that he thinks he's gonna make are the same improvements he always thought that Villa were gonna make before they got relegated, and that's why I don't see much changing in it, because I don't think Ange will put the pressure on him as much as what we would like him to, because it's his mate and he's new to the job and all of that. Like, obviously Ange will lose his head. It's like there's a bit of a loving going on. There's an Ange Jedinak loving, and then there's a Jedinak loving of the work that he's doing. But what he doesn't understand, it's not up to the standard we require. That's the disparity. It's in the coaching.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the problem is we're playing Newcastle next. And I don't know if you want to go on to it, Marlon, but yeah, I just think I look at their front line, I look at our front line, and their ability to go direct versus our ability to go direct. And you start to wonder, like, what is it possible we can get something out of this at St. James's Park, as we said earlier? Can we do anything different? And I'm going to bring up the screen just to kind of put it into perspective. I think the only reason why I think we invert these fullbacks is because we're just trying to block up central progression so teams don't play through us. I think that's the only thing that logically makes sense is why you've got players. I know Odobert might not be there, and Brennan Johnson probably will be there, but I'm thinking that's the only reason why you're going to see us do that. But there is a world where I will see maybe Porro drop here, and we're a little bit wider. Because what I did notice against Everton is sometimes Porro will drop into this pocket, and when we're trying to progress the ball out from the back, he would drop in here.
To tell you something though, Ange's system is flawed playing that way there, yeah, because they have two elite wingers that I call elite wingers because they're wingers. You've got Anthony Gordon and Harvey Barnes is fit. And I feel as though they might have struggled against Bournemouth because they'll play a more respectful, more defensive game than us. But we are going to invert them fullbacks. We're going to leave loads of space in behind, and both of them can dribble and carry the ball, shoot and cross. And then you've got an animal in Isaac. And I just feel as though Ange will do Ange things, and we're going to just be as open as we were last time.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well, because I see that our two centre-backs bit and wide. Assume was going to have to drop into his pocket here. Isaac, we saw what happened last time. Because Joe Linton, he's a beast. When he's going to be pressing the hell out of us. So
this is why I'm saying that you can't play Maddison in there because he's a luxury player. When you're playing against Everton and people like that, you're dominating the ball and you're absolutely spanking them about. Yeah, you don't really need Maddison in the defensive transitional plays. But you see people like Joe Linton, they smash into him in that, and he don't want to really get involved. And then they start playing higher up the pitch. But the only way that will save us playing Ange ball is if Solanke's fit, because Vicario and Romero can go straight and bypass midfield. But if Solanke is not fit and he plays Ange ball as we know it, we're just going to get thrashed again, I'll be honest with you.
Nothing will ever save us. Nothing will ever save us playing Ange ball. You don't even need elite wingers. When a manager can go on bloody TV and say, right, this is how you beat Spurs, and then goes and does it twice, and then basically every team does the same, because the way you've got it on there, Ash, is the same way every time. We're so far pushed forward, the flanks are so naked that any team can just sit back. You don't need elite wingers to do it. You put the ball over to one of the wingers, which nearly 8 times out of 10 happens to us in every game, and then he goes down the wing, then say it goes down the right wing with Barnes, then Van der Ven has to come over, Romero has to come over, Porro's still trying to leg it back from his number 10 position, and we're open again and tap. We gave away the least amount of chances last season, but every chance we gave away might as well have been a penalty at an open goal. Ange hasn't changed.
Is there any way, guys, that, because I looked at their centre-backs and you're looking at, I don't know who's going to be fit, but if they do have a Dan Burn on, is there any way we can get at a Dan Burn, or we can utilise him? I know he's got a presence, quite tall and physical, but in terms of pace, is there a matchup where we could bully?
I just feel as though if we don't have Solanke, and we can't go a bit more route one at times, what they did great was they shut us down from, i.e., when we tried to play it from the back with Romero, as how we always play from the floor, and we couldn't play chip balls. They just pressed us to an inch of our life, and we gave up the ball, and they just took the ball off us that way. And then i.e., because of that, if we don't have Solanke to go long to, just so we can even try and get the ball into his chest or off his head, I feel as though it'll be a long day of football, because we're only going to try and play one way. It'll be possession based, coming out from the back with the ball on the floor.
And the ball coming off his head, you can count that one out anyway, because we got no one who can cross the bloody ball.
No, I'm on about you can go long from kicks and you can play a long ball into Solanke. I'm saying if we don't have Solanke, then we're in big trouble, because we'll only play the ball from the floor.
I think our problem, and I said it last season when we played them, I blame Werner last season when we lost 4-0, because Werner missed those 2 chances. And I think that was the problem. That was
the one was pretty hard, but the second one was criminal.
Yeah, unfortunately, the difference was Isaac. The difference was Isaac. Isaac scored his chances, Werner didn't. And that was the whole thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can let in goals, but goals change games, and that's it.
Especially
and
when
this
you're
is going
away
to be the
from home.
same Same problem this in this game as well, because yep, you could defend well, you could keep it tight, but at the end of the day, the problem was our strikers were absolutely useless. And I'm still saying right now, we've got no strikers coming in, and that's it. I don't think Solanke's going to be fit for that game. So then you've got the below average Emil Heskey, right? AKA Richarlison on the bench for you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be kind with that. Our strike force. I was used to having Sheringham in my team. Yeah, Defoe in my team, Bobby Keane in my team. Yeah, right. We had Gary Lineker on our team. We had Gascoigne on our team. What's happened? What's
That's
happened?
harsh, man. Your
No, it's not
Heskey,
harsh. It's
man.
not harsh. I'm sorry. The standards have gone down too quickly. I'm sorry. This is now the main event needs to speak, Bob. I've had enough. I've had enough of this absolute rubbish of a forward line. I'm sorry. That is our downfall. That is our downfall. And I'll tell you right now, Europe, they are laughing at us right now, bro. They are going to be laughing at us right now, bro, because we are not even going to see this the dawn of day in that Europa League that I've been told by Tottenham fans we're going to be laughing at. By the way, some of those teams, honestly, it makes me so annoyed. I'm fuming. I'm fuming that we have not improved that front line. And I'll tell you now, Newcastle are laughing at us right now. Yeah, they are laughing at us. I'm sorry, back to you, Marlon. I'm done. I've had enough. I've had enough of this crap.
Bar possibly Son, possibly because he is losing a bit of pace. Out of that front lot we've got in our entire squad, let alone just on the pitch, who actually gets into a top six,
none of them,
even top eight
none
club?
of them.
Who of them gets into Man City? Who of them? You didn't listen to the question then. I said the forwards.
Oh, bro, like,
none of them would get in Man U. None of them would get in Man City. None of them would get in Arsenal. None of them would probably get in Newcastle. Well, they definitely wouldn't get in Newcastle. They'd even struggle to get in West Ham's team. They ain't getting in Aston Villa's team. Do you want me to keep the list going on?
We bottled getting bloody Somerville for the bloody Leeds. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous.
And we go and buy a little boy for 40 million.
What's going on? I'm sorry. I just can't do it.
No, Alex, you are right, mate. Alex, you are bang on, mate. We go and spend 40 million on a little boy that didn't even make it in the Championship 11, like I said, who might have all the potential in the world to come good. Yet we don't look at players like Locatelli. We don't look at players like Eze. It is shocking what we do on there. Absolutely shocking. That our front line
would struggle with West Ham's team. Nice guys. Yeah, I go to the carnival, get arrogant swag guys, yeah, getting all the ladies, bruv, yeah, and I'm getting people complaining, oh, these people got attitude, and most of these people got love these guys off. I'm sorry.
I've got a question real quick, just a little pivot. If you are Richarlison and you don't start, are you starting to ask questions? Because for me, does he not start if Solanke is not fit? There's not Richarlison to the first team.
No, because he's had no pre-season and he's made himself look stupid because he had no pre-season. And then when Solanke was here, all of a sudden he wanted to sit up there in the Bayern Munich game, stare him out, and then the next day he was fit all of a sudden. Do you know what I'm saying? He's like, we all know he's a bit childish and that. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, Andrew would have seen that and thought, mate, you said you've been fit or you've been injured all summer, so you're going to sit out now till you can prove us you're match fit. So he's not a guaranteed to start. No, he's not.
Could I add to that as well, Supreme? You know why you're so right? This guy, right? We bought him in for Conte. Then he didn't turn up for Conte, yeah, because he said he looked at Conte and said, "I'm not playing for you anymore." Halfway through the season. And by the way, this is from Jay, by the way, to someone that I don't even agree with, by the way. And he putting this out on Ashmatic. You remember that show? Remember that show? He putting it out. Yeah, Marlon, remember that show? He putting it out. Yeah, right. And I think that was his cards marked straight away there, right? Then he starts saying, "Oh, I love Ange. I love Ange. I love Ange." Yeah, that's why now I'm saying, "Sorry, bye bye." You know what I mean? You're showing your cards, bruv. You can't handle it, bruv.
I think
You know what I
he's
mean?
going to struggle. I think he's going to be like made to kind of feel like you'll get minutes, but you're not important anymore. So he goes. I think that's what. I don't think Ange backs him there, and I think Richarlison takes a lot of managing. You know, Marco Silva, he had the time. No offense, he manages crap teams, so he had the time to focus on him at Watford and at Everton. And I think like people like Ange Conte, they'll manage him and they'll give him so much time, but they've got a job to do. And what we're trying to do as a football club, you haven't got time to manage because he's quite emotional. You can see it. He needs an arm around him. He's like basically having 24 squad men, and one of them is like having a girlfriend, and you've got to attend to her needs and whatever. You just haven't got the time for him. You know what I mean? So you know that Solanke's going to be far lower maintenance.
He's got arrogance. He's got arrogance, but unfortunately, he's got the wrong kind of arrogance. He just isn't. He hasn't got the right kind of arrogance. I'm not going to go into the personal stuff because there is personal stuff, but I'm keeping the football, right? So I can't go into that part because then it's a different show, right? But the point I'm making is,
can't rely on him. Basically,
you can't rely on him, no. And like I said before, this game is. Unfortunately, this is where I didn't listen to people that were saying about what Odobert. We've been too nasty on players. No, if you're strong enough, you're big enough. Yeah, and big enough players. This is why I didn't listen to that guy from Everton. He used to play for Brighton that always banters everybody. Yeah, moaning about getting criticism. Yeah, and Mope. I thought that was just contradictory. He's just a hypocrite. Yeah, when he's going at our player Maddison and having little digs at him. Yeah, when he's getting digs at his own fans, well, I'm sorry, bro. You give it all. You give it out. Well, you got to take it back. You show what you're all about, but you got nothing to show for it, haven't you, mate? You know what I mean? Go back to the Championship where you belong. The point I'm making is, is that if he's got anything about him, Richarlison, he says, you know what? I'll show you. Yeah, I'm Brazilian number 9. Yeah, I want to get back to that Brazilian squad. Yeah, and show what I'm all about. Yeah, but he's not showing nothing. He's not showing nothing, and that's why I want rid. I'm sorry. I need players that are sure of themselves that they're going to say, you know what? Even if the fans are going against you, like Ivan Toney has it in abundance, like Defoe had, like Shannon had, and Berbatov, he was a good one as well. Yeah. Right, they'll sit there and say, "I'll show you," and they bang it in the cup final, and we win the Carabao Cup. Yeah.
So does everyone think that Son starts then?
Son starts.
I mean, in a 9.
He wouldn't, because you got to remember the meme. Ange's meme was caused by who? Richarlison's miss. He don't trust him no more. Done. He's not playing. He wants rid, but he doesn't. He's kind of. He can't rely on Richarlison for anything. Like the guys have said, Richarlison at the moment he can't be relied on. Like you said, he was injured. Bought Solanke all of a sudden he's fit. It's done. And then the miss, for him to do that and be caught on camera doing what he did, right? It was an easy for him. Ange thought it was an easy chance for
so what I'm saying to you, my bro, my Killy, is is Son going to be the number 9? And then if so, who plays on the left? That's what I want to know. Against Newcastle.
Yeah, but Odobert's going to play on the left. We all know it. We don't want it, but we all know he's going to play on the left.
And we all know Johnson's going to start on the right.
So everyone agrees what the team stays completely as it is then?
I think Kulu comes out.
For who?
That's the question.
I
don't know.
You think so? As a number 8?
He's not gonna play Kulu and Maddison in the middle against Newcastle.
This is so annoying. This is so annoying, right? That we've messed up our transfers. This summer's been absolutely awful because we're having this debate because we've not done well in the transfer market. I'm sorry, it's embarrassing, Marlon.
Our transfer window has been crap. West Ham have had a brilliant transfer window. I'm not saying they've signed better players, but they have improved their 11. We haven't even improved our first 11.
The point I'm trying to keep on topic what you're saying, Asmat, and you're arguing this, right? If we had a better better, just put more players that have more experience, that we would not be having this conversation. You know what I mean? Because it's ridiculous. We should be having this conversation right now. It's ridiculous.
Some
sorry.
people argue that they would argue that the window, not me, but they would argue.
I know.
They would argue that the window has been successful. No, definitely not me. Has been successful was because we've got rid of a lot of the deadwoods. That's the narrative.
On that side, yeah.
That's the narrative going around at the moment.
Well, there's still two waiting.
But I just, we're still two waiting. And like, everyone's like, oh, if you get those two done, oh, it's going to be the best window ever. But where I scratch my head is, I thought we were moving stadium to compete. I thought the stadium was the deal breaker where,
but
once the revenues are higher.
But the problem has been the transfer windows before, right? Because they've messed it up so much with the players they brought in and the managers they've sacked and everything like that, that they've had to go down this route because of we've got no homegrown players in the squad as it looks, right?
Yeah.
So it means our Europa League squad's now up because of it, because they're so you can say that the last few transfer windows have completely messed them up. So actually, that what the club are trying to do now is trying to fix what they've done. 3 or 4 transfer windows gone, right? We've got the money
because of what we did in the past, basically.
The past has come and bit us in the bum, and you can see it, right? And that's why the transfer window has been so poor on our side, because you got to think we've bought Solanke, right, who's English. We've bought Archie Gray, who's English as well, right? And that's why we've spent big money. And we were linked with Cole Walker-Peters at one point. We're linked with getting Marcus Edwards back. Every single player that we seem to be linked with has to be homegrown, because we've just messed everything up since Poch left. We've literally, well, not even then, just before then, the transfer windows, and that's why we've bought so many of these players now. We're trying to get rid of them, but we've just got ourselves in a massive mess.
We've got in a massive miss because we're getting potential in, and we don't even know if these players are going to be great at the end of the day. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I get your point. I get your point.
This is what Ange wants to do. If you look at everyone, what they've always said when Ange came in, he likes to work with younger players because they're the ones who are most likely to take his information in, and that's the reason why they kind of go. Look,
but that means it's going to take time. That means it's going to take time. Then
they're trying to repeat what happened with Poch. You can see it when Poch first came in. We went for the younger profile when we had the Walkers, the Roses, and Vertonghen was young at the time as well, right? Forget Odobert because he was more established when he came. But you saw the Dele Allis and all that, and then the Harry Kane's coming through. That's the route they want to go back down. They've looked at that model and gone, let's try and go down that route. The problem is that there's now a new stadium. There's more expectation on the club. But back then, it was, everyone wasn't expecting that. It was just kind of, we'll see how it goes. We're trying to aim for top 4. But we've been told this, and this. But the problem is now is that we expect. And that's why the club, we are asking questions of the club. But it's what is going to be the next step? You either have to go through with this and go,
Marlon.
Or they have to go and get it. But the other question is, how many of this we're asking for these established players? Well, a lot of them are rejecting us. A lot of them don't want to come.
Marlon, with a point you made there, if I heard it right, tell me if I heard it wrong. You said Ange likes working with young players.
So what I was saying, when Ange came in, a lot of people. So I didn't really know much about it. A lot of people used to tell me that Ange liked working with younger profile players because they're more likely to take the instructions on.
How many young players got played, and how much time did they get last season?
Yeah, no, I agree. I do agree with that statement. But
I mean, the longest player that played, young player, was about 10 minutes. But if Ange had a brain on him in that aspect, like to work with younger players, certain games he had the perfect time. Last season was his perfect time to mess about with things, and he did nothing. He didn't even do certain training on the bloody field. I mean, Eric Dyer said it all. Everyone called him a liar, and then basically everyone found out it was true. That is all he ever does on the training pitch is hammer his way of play into people. Now I get he wants people to play his way. He even stands there on national TV and says, these young players. He never bloody used them.
Yeah.
And
but the question,
Everton, he had the perfect chance to bring on younger players if they. I mean, God, go stick Mikey Moore on the right hand side.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. The problem is though, but as he has pointed out in all these transfer windows, is he has the final say. So he has said when Gray and Odobert and Bergvall have all been put on the table for him, and even Dragic to a certain extent, he has said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's all going to be in his head when it comes down.
I totally agree with you. No, you're 100% right there. But the point I make on that one is how many of those right?
But none of them started on the first day.
Yeah.
No,
what I'm going to say,
what
I'm going to say is, yeah, people are saying, oh, it's changing. Go with a process. Go with a prospect. What, for 25 years? Right. If I bring any of yous in for a job interview, what do I want? I want your CV. I want your history. I want to know what you've done over the past 3, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years where you've worked. Right. The 25 years as history says he's got till about Christmas. And if he ain't 6, 7 points away from 4th place, baked potato. See you later, mate. So with these young players, is he even going to take that chance with these young players that aren't even fit enough, like good enough to really should be good enough to get in the top 14? Maybe Bergvall 20 minutes here or there sort of thing. Is he even going to take that chance to go and put Archie Gray on the pitch over Basuma, Sarr, Bentancur, even Kulusevski there? I don't think he is. Because I think he knows he's already on borrowed time. Because we haven't got those 10 games of last season covering our backside. And we all know how Levy works.
Dan, to answer your question, sorry to cut you. But I honestly think in Europe, then we will see Wagwan. I think in Europe will be the chance when we're in those group games. It's the only time. It's the only. Marlon said it many a season ago. He said, look, people are going to be pissed because we've got no Europa and we're not going to get to see the youngsters. I think this is the chance now in those group stages when we're in Kazakhstan or when we're out in Switzerland, whatnot, and we're against lower opposition. That's when we have to play the youth, and that's when they have their chance to make their names known and get their chance in the first team. For example, Dele
Alli. That is their chance. I agree. That is their chance.
Do you know what I'm saying? Can they turn the corner? Can Bergvall ask questions of Maddison and say, look, I should be taking that number 10 shirt. Do you know what I mean? For next season, I'm going to be the one that's going to take it to the next level. So I think only then when we say, oh, you know, Andrew will look at the youth and he will trust them because they've got 90 minutes in the legs. For a lot of them, in my opinion, Bergvall being one of them, I think he's not match fit yet. If I'm being totally honest, I think, yes, he's played matches in the Swedish league, but in terms of like the Premiership, which is a different animal, the physicality, the pace, the speed of it, he's not used to that. And so the best way for him to get ready for those type of things is going to be in Europe. And even your Archie Grays that people are raving on about. So we will find out a lot about these kids, maybe in the cup, because I know the cup was played tonight. I know there was a few games tonight, and Wednesday night there'll be a few games as well. But again, will Ange play the kids in the cup? Do you know what I'm saying?
And if he won't risk it, he won't risk it after last year.
I'm saying if he was
I don't think he will.
I'm saying if he was to, would people buy him? Do you know what I'm saying? We'll fancy patience.
I think unfortunately that season that he needed to play the youngsters was last year.
Yeah.
That was the season to do it. This season, unfortunately,
right?
The only way, like I say, I'm not going to repeat what I said before, but the only reason how things will change with the fans, and it is really just for the board to stick with, to hold their nerve. You know what I mean? To hold their nerve, and then that will show. That will send a message to me, to everyone, that this is long term at the moment.
Hear this. Sorry to cut you again. For anyone can jump in. What is the solution? I'm not saying Andrew's going to do this, but what do you think Tottenham need to do in terms of like moving forward? For example, against like your Newcastles and your Arsenals, for things to like, for us to improve, what is the solution? It can't be player wise now, because I personally think the window's for incoming.
I agree.
I think it's done. I'm going to lie. Maybe we'll get 1 or 2 players out, but in terms of like what we can do with this current squad on the pitch, what is the solution is what I want to know, rather than saying what is wrong and what, you know, Ange ain't got a clue or Scooby-Doo. What do you think we need to do to improve anything?
I've said it from day dot, and I still think it now. Is not leaving Romero and Van der Ven. Do a City, do an Arsenal. You have to make sure there's 3, not 2. And he needs to. When I say 3, he either needs to be Basuma, he either needs to be Porro, or it needs to be Udogie. You can't have all 3 of them bombing forward and leaving Romero and Van der Ven exposed, because then that's where we get caught. And that's all he has to do.
Supreme, what do you think, man, moving forward?
I just feel as though, I feel as though if he would have got 2 decent dribbly wingers, then he would have been able to play the way he wants to play, because he'd be able to, to play the way he wants to play, he needs to score those 2-3 goals early, and he hasn't got the attacking force to do it. So if he can't attack the way he needs to attack, to play the way he wants to play, then he has to stop inverting both of his fullbacks at the same time. He'll have to start inverting one at a time and whatnot, because if he had the attacking power, say if he had Savinho and Odobert, then he probably could play this way, because he could put teams away, he could put them in the headlock with Solanke as well in the box. But while he's doing sons and all kinds of weird variations, he can't play this way. It's just unsustainable. Like if you could play this way, I'm pretty sure Pep would be doing it. And Pep inverts his defenders into midfield, whereas Andrew's going the whole hog to say to them, no, what, go further. And it's just he hasn't got the attacking power to do it. It's like on paper, it's a really exciting way of playing football. But you need like Eze and Bakayoko, or you need like Kudos and Savinho. So you've got 2 attackers that you can give the ball to, and whether you've got people to 1-2 off, then they can run into the box and create you a bit of havoc. We haven't got havoc makers, man. We've got people that are making problems, that are losing the ball in that area, and then, like you say, we've got 2 people that are just expected to deal with everything. You know, it's unsustainable. That's the reality. You know, it's nice on the eye, but until you've got the right wingers, you can't play like that. I'm sorry, you can't. You're going to have to just invert one for that. January, he goes and gets another winger, like a Shirky or someone like that, another winger who can hold the ball, dribble, retain the ball, do something exciting. Then, yeah, of course he can play like that. Invert everybody if you want. But while he's not really, it's like what Mr. Box Office said before. Playing the way he played before got him in on goal early, but you don't have the attackers to put the ball away. You can't rely on it. And after about 30, 40 minutes of playing like that and having no success, teams just say, you know what, you're not actually dangerous. And they just step up on you, and they start saying to the wingers and that, you don't actually need to come back, because their fullbacks are here. So you 2 stay up there, and then you got Harvey Barnes and Gordon running down in your goal. So you can only invert one. In this game, especially, you can only invert one fullback at a time. I think more than that, suicide.
You're right, and that is basically what Pep does. If there's one of 2 things. And to me, it's not even changing his whole system as such. It's just tweaking. And for me, it's what a good manager does to adapt. I hate to say it, Arteta is your perfect one for that. He has adapted to modern day football. And he should be reading the book by now. 3 things he needs to do. First thing he needs to do is just cut out that zonal marking totally. As soon as he does that, we can see 10 less goals. Next one, I'm 100% with you. If you want to do your wing backs inverted, do one of them at a time. If Udoji's going for it, fine, go for it. Bring Porro back, so we got 3 at the back, or vice versa. Other thing he needs to do as well is learn when to tell his team, come back 5 yards, come back 10 yards, not have the centre back sitting on the bloody halfway line all the time. If he just changed those 3 things as such, or at least 2 of those 3 things, the zonal marking and one of them, I don't think we're being half the problems we got, because the problem we've got is he just wants to play this football of like an old school Kevin Keegan of you score 3, we score 4. Well, sorry, Ange, this isn't Scotland. This isn't Japan. This isn't Australia. This is the Premier League, the best league in the world, they say. Well, come on, Ange, mate, show us you're a good manager. Fix up.
No, but the thing is, right, you said, look, and I know people always, it's not this league, but the Premier League is very, very different to even the Spanish, the French. It doesn't even matter, because Klopp and Pep, 2 quality coaches, came to England, and they went, "Ah, crap," and even they had to adjust. So it happens to the best of them. Everyone adjusts.
Yeah.
Even Wenger, when he first came, had to adjust his system. You know, it took Ferguson 5 years. Ferguson adapted all the time. So if the best have to do it, it doesn't matter who you are. You still have to come and look, at the end of the day, yes, he's done well in those other countries, but the Premier League will punish you, and it punished Pep in his first season when he tried to play the
100%
exact
agree.
same way with Kolarov and Zabaleta. Right,
And
I
he
can't remember who the
and he
defense
got
was
better
at the time.
winger. He got better winger. He got better fullbacks and
Get better fullbacks,
and he
and he
got and
still.
he got.
But even then, yeah, and then he still didn't even like. Even now, he doesn't commit. He doesn't leave his centre backs exposed like we do. You usually have that. He'll have when Ake was playing on the left, Ake would stay back if Walker wasn't pushed forward. It's like or Rodri had if Rodri wasn't so far forward. It's like now Ben White. Ben White will only push forward if Rice is covering him, and that's when he'll go back up Saka. You
I
see
would
it.
play. I would play. Sorry to interrupt you, Marla. I would play Van de Ven on the left, right? Drop
Interesting
Adoji.
because it did work. It did work in those last two
Yeah,
games last year.
I'll
It'd be
play. I'll
interesting.
play.
I
y-
thought, yeah, and put Dragusin in.
Dragusin in with Romero, and then Poro on the right, and then when Poro inverts, you've got the three in defence, and that's it.
And Van der Ven has more of a defensive mind on his head.
Exactly.
Problem is though with that one, Alex. Problem is though is we rely. So I mean, the reason we didn't concede another 15 goals last season, one because our goalkeeper did a bloody good job, and two because Van der Ven is just a freak of nature on how fast he can run. If he's not in that middle on that halfway line,
yeah, but
Goosen can't come back and cover.
Yeah, but you won't get caught in that situation, is what we're saying, because your doggy will push so far forward where Van der Ven won't do it. So it means that actually you're not leaving Dragusin and Romero exposed.
But you're saying one going. You're saying one going forward. Yeah, I got you now. Yeah. I misunderstood you.
I just think at the moment it's tough luck. At the moment, we need to do it. We need to do it because at the end of the day, right, you've got to adapt. Because at the end of the day, you cannot afford, right. Listen, you know my thoughts on the manager at the moment, how this is going to work. But the thing is, he cannot afford to get thrashed by Arsenal. He cannot afford. He cannot afford to it. You know what I mean? So he's going to have to adapt. He's going to have to adapt. And I think Ashmatic asks a very, very good question here, right? The only problem he's got at the moment, the forwards are going to really be a problem. They're a problem for me. The only thing I've got at the moment, I think I've got a little bit of hope for is Son, but I don't think he should be put in that position again because I think he's losing his strength a little bit. You know what I mean? And maybe Solanke because I think he can hold up the ball. That's it. But other than that, I'm sorry. I'm going to be real about it. When I said on We Are Tottenham TV, I didn't like the forwards. I still don't like the forwards. I'm sorry, and I think they're going to kill us off, unfortunately.
Would anyone bring in, like, because obviously it's last 2-3 days of the transfer window, would anyone bring in a left-sided centre back / left back? If that makes sense.
I think we missed out on one to Debo that were bigging up.
And they were trying to get Hinchcape, but the price obviously they could have bought him for when they bought Van der Ven is no longer the price of 50 million. And Liverpool and Spurs were at the table with his agent, but he's going to end up staying there. But they are looking at some like unknown like data-driven names that we might get someone from like the Dutch league or somebody from France. That's not really a household name, but they're going to be picking off data and figures. So that can still happen. But really, for that to happen, we need those two players to go before the window, like the Salso and Regulon. They do want a left side. They do want a left back before the window closes. They do.
It's so frustrating that we have to kind of move players on before we can bring players in.
Yeah, because they've used every last bit of the money of the income as the down payments on the new players. So, like clever Mr. Levy again, he's basically ended up having a window where he's not actually had to use any of the money. He's only put like 25 million down on Solanke and stuff. He's used all that money to buy all them players. It's clever. And the money that's coming in from all concerts and stuff like that, that's what's funding the hotel. Very clever man. Very clever man. Because that's what people assume. People think, oh, we've bought Dominic Solanke. Oh, there's 65 million, but it doesn't work like that, does it? He's given 20 million, and the rest is getting paid over the next 3 seasons. So then you then think, oh yeah, but then he's bought Odobert, yeah, 15 million down payment again. Do you know what I'm saying? That's why the players need to go for us to buy players, because he's not using any of the money he's not using the club's money. Not using that money for that. He's using that money for that building site that you see outside. Who's paying for that? What, you think Enix paying for it? What, like they paid for Tottenham? They've paid nothing, have they? 2004, they cleared up their debt to the bank. They took full ownership of Tottenham. And ever since then, everything from the stadium that's been built, like people think that it's his own money. It's not, is it? It's the money that he saved from all those windows we didn't invest in the squad and then use that as the deposit to the bank. And then what he's done now is used other saved money, gone and got another loan, a bridging mortgage off the stadium to build that new hotel. That's going to cost 350 million. Who's paying for that? Why do you think your tickets have gone up 6%? Why do you think he's got rid of 10 players in the same year that he's building the hotel? We're going for exactly the same thing as what we went through in the stadium. Like obviously the stadium, yeah, you have to look at it this way. 500 million or 600 million of the money the club had, but 600 million of it has been loaned from the bank. So you have to see it this with the hotel. It's only like an extra 350 million. So it's not going to, it's crippling as building the stadium. But this is why certain things are happening the way they're happening. He saved 25, 30 million last season. And he saved another 20. So he saved 50 million over 2 years. Because when he gets
then why have we spent the most money in the Premiership since Ange's been here then?
No, because that's how Savvy shows it. He doesn't show the money that he's made from selling Kane and stuff. You've got to have
I don't care what money he's made from selling Kane and that. Why, mate? Do you want me to get the stats out for you? Do you want me to get the stats out? Right, then why have we spent more than Liverpool, more than Man U, more than Man City, more than West Ham, more than Villa, the only ones we've even spent more than.
If you're only seeing that as the full picture, like I've just explained, then it's pointless me out. You're shouting at me, and you're not understanding.
No, I'm not shouting, mate. I've just got a loud voice.
Business.
It's business. I know that, but then why have we spent so much money?
Yeah, but like I said, you're not willing to listen to it in context.
I'm always willing to listen.
Well,
no, I'm not shouting.
Listen then, for example, then. So if I sell Regulon today, for example, if I sell Regulon today, yeah. For nothing. Let's say I let him go for free, but I bring in a dodgy coming on 15 grand a year wages, 15 grand a week wages. So effectively, you're losing £7 million a year players and replacing them with 2-3. Like so, Van der Ven, for example. Van der Ven, yeah, is on like what 40, 50 grand a week, is it? And Dyer is on 90 grand a week. So when you get rid of Dyer and replace him, like you're saving like 3, 4, 5 million a year. So over the last 2 years alone, just in wages, Aston Villa pay more wages than Spurs. Spurs have like the 8th or 9th lowest wage bill. And my point is this, is that the money that they've used in this the money that they've gained in the transfer market. Like Levy gained another 5 million on Friday when he sold Jack Clark. Levy had 35% buying rights in Jack Clark, 40%. So when Jack Clark got sold for 18 million, Levy got 5 million of it. So when people even think that we sold 50 million pounds of players, that's 55. And then if Marcus Edwards goes before Friday to Juventus or something like that, that's another 7 million. So then actually the 50 million you see on transfer market will be well into 60 million. And all that money has been used for down payments on the new players. Because once you put the down payment down, the wages are spread over the term of the contract. So you're off again. And that's why he's been reluctant to spend money through the window. The only reason we bought Archie Gray like we did is because Brentford were about to buy him. They offered him 75 grand a week. Ended up costing Levy more money. Ended up costing Levy 5 million more than it cost Brentford because Levy's had to balance out the 75 grand a week because he's only on 45 grand a week. So he gave him 5 million up front to say, look, I can't give you 75 grand, but I'll still look after you. It's how it works. It's not
no club pays up the money up front. No club pays the money up front unless it's a buyout clause. Yeah, we know that. Okay, so no club does that. Yeah, no club does it, right? Unless it's a buyout clause. So why have we managed, even before we got rid of our deadwood, since Ange has been here, to spend the most money in the Premiership?
As I say, if you're looking at it from a spend point of view, then yeah, it looks worse than what it is. But you're not looking at the money that they've used to balance the books.
The income has been terrible, but we have got rid of a shitload of wages.
So this because at the moment we've spent 82 million net, i.e., what the difference from the money that you've made to the money that you've outlaid. That's how it works in my mind. I don't work off this is what's been spent. And then last window, we spent 120 million pounds. That's all we spent net because it's in euros all the time. And then the window before that, we spent like 90 million. So when it's said like that, it's not the reality. Because if we were spending money like that, where's all the fucking players? It's just the way that it's balanced. It's the way that Levy does the business as well. How he's loaned Porro, he loaned Kulu, and he loaned Odobert, and he put them all into one window. When in essence, they were from the year before. It's how he shows the books. Just how he does it.
And then goes and spends 65 million on players like Richarlison and Solanke, and 50 million on Johnson.
I don't begrudge him spending the money on Solanke. I don't. If he would have bought Solanke in this window, and those players that he's bought, and an extra experienced midfielder, and a left back, and a goalkeeper, and basically cut his losses on. You have to cut your losses on the people like Timo Werner and Sullivan, and gone and got Cherokee. Cherokee goes for 10, 12 million. That's a good buy. That's a good window. But the window is missing a few key parts for me. Like, we're short again. That's why I'm not happy with it. It's not the players.
I mean, we've basically made not even 50 million on what we've sold. And we've basically spent, how much is it now? About 100, what, 6, 12, round about 130, 140 million, 130 million, if I'm right, something along those lines, yeah? Since Ange has been at this club, we have been the biggest spenders out there. More than any club. My point of that is, yeah, my whole point of this is, we've got the money to spend then. I don't give a toss how he spends it.
No,
we spend it. So we could have got in better players. Well, he spent the money. End of. No ifs, no buts.
No, it's not even that. He hasn't spent the money. My argument is with Levy.
No, let me finish. Let me finish then. I'll listen to you. So you listen to me now. With that, we had the money to spend, so we obviously spent it. I don't care whether he spends it over 5 years, because that's how you can buy a player now, because they had to change it because of the way Chelsea pissballed about with it. So they've had to change it. So you have to do it in 5 years now, yeah? Even if the contract's 8 years. You've got 5 years to pay it off. So one way or another, he's got to come up with that money. He has spent that money. Maybe not there and then. It's like me going and getting a mortgage on a house. Yes, I've paid for it. It's mine there and then. But I've still got to pay off the money for the mortgage. It's exactly the same thing. We have spent the most money and we have got the most crap to show for it. It's not that we haven't had the money to do it with. The main thing Levy is too tight on, because one thing he does actually do is put the money down at times. It's just he buys crap with it. And we are the tightest bastards on this planet when it comes to the wages. That is the biggest problem. And the other big problem is, well, the money's there. Okay, I've bought my house on a mortgage. It's mine. Even though I haven't technically paid for it, it's still mine. You buy a player on a mortgage. It's just like a house. So even though I haven't necessarily paid for it, I've still got 300 grand, 400 grand to pay on my house or whatever, same as you do on a player. Whether it's a problem or not, we have gone and spent more money than any other club out there. And we've got players like Johnson's to show for it. We've got players like Solanke to show for it. We've got schoolboys like Gray to show for it. We've got other deadwood that we've had to get rid of because we've bought so much crap with the amount of money we spend. It doesn't matter how he does it. He has spent it because he's going to have to pay it, whether it's today or whether it's in 5 years' time. We have spent the most money since Ange's been here, and we have got jack shit to show for it.
Yeah, it's more as I was trying to say. There's more money there to spend, and obviously, because of the stadium and that, you've got all that FFP room. But the problem is with Levy.
I get all that.
He only likes doing deals where you can spread the money. That's why he wouldn't do the Eze deal. That's why the Neto deal was taking ages and he got taken from underneath. It's just the fact that the way he wants to do business, yeah, like it affects that 2.9% interest that he's got. Like he's got that preferable interest. And while he's building hotels and stadiums, he's always going to be reluctant to really go and spend the money. Like, obviously, when we bought Ndombele, that was because, again, he could put 20 million down and he could scatter it all the way till now. The payments, we just finished paying for him now. But it's not the way I say that we should be doing business, because we built that game-changing stadium. But it's just that he's stuck in that wheeler-dealer mode before he had the stadium, and he's got used to saving money and doing things that are not beneficial on the pitch. It's not
I totally get you.
That he's doing off the pitch are making him a lot more money and creating new opportunities, but he sees the players as like too much of a risk. But the problem is for him is that he likes the UEFA Champions League money, and he likes the status of Tottenham being a top club, and he thinks that he can effectively charge top dollar, the most in Europe, and deliver this football. And people are not going to question it. Like, obviously today I went off on Twitter about a few things because it's not right, it's not okay, but this is how it is. And I think when you've got him getting a certificate last week for how well run the football club is financially and the facilities, why would he change? When he's got people like myself fighting over season tickets, why would he change? Do you know what I mean? There's no reason.
I make you totally right with this. I make you totally right on what you're saying. But go back to the point I'm saying. He still spent 370 odd million. End of. There's no ifs or buts about it. You can't debate it. You can't argue it. It doesn't matter how he spent it. It is spent. So why did we spend it on players like Archie Gray? Why did we spend it on players like on the left wing? I've just forgot his name now. The young one we were talking.
Odobert.
Yeah. Odobert. Why did we go and get a loan in for the second season with Werner, where we're actually paying his whole bloody contract money? So it says on paperwork that I read.
Well, yeah,
we don't know the facts on that one.
Why the 40 million?
Yeah. Why do we go and spend 50 million on Johnsons? Why do we go and spend 65 millions on Solankis? The money's there. The money's been spent. So why don't we spend it better?
I think what I've got to jump in and say is, like, the question really should be, who is this on? And you're going to say all of them, but is it on Ange, Lange, or Levy? But who deserves more of the blame is what I want to know.
Lange and Ange get the blame because this is something that they've discussed to do together. You got to remember, Paratici's been in the meetings, but from the January, he took a back seat after Dragson because Lange then got his man from Aston Villa. He does all of his data analysis. That was from Spurs originally. And that now those two are head of the transfer committee. I think what's happening is that Paratici is obviously an advisor to Daniel, and he's leaving Lange to basically sink or swim. And at the end of the summer, in this next summer, Paratici's free to work again. He's off his ban. So if obviously we're not doing well, Lange will be out the door anyway because Paratici will get his old job back. And that's what's going on. So it's Lange and Ange that take the blame for the players.
So it's basically everyone who. So it's basically, we all know at the end of the day, the one I always bring up is I hold Ange to his word. Why? Because that's just showing a person respect at the end of the day.
He says that nobody joins this squad without getting his approval, so he has to take the blame, you know?
Exactly. But we all know it starts with Levy, and Levy is the one who employs him.
Yeah, which is always the thing, right? Always got to go back to the main source. But my point is, Levy ain't going to get, like, the fans aren't going to turn on Levy. All that's going to happen is Lange will end up, or Levy, they will end up together getting rid of Ange, and then who's putting the new coach? Will be probably either Lange or Scott Munn that will be appointing the new coach alongside Levy. Do you know what I'm saying? So Ange will go, who do we get in next? Do you know what I'm saying? We're going back to square one. We're going to probably for an attacking manager again, but then are we any better off? Are we any further off in our projects? Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's a bit of a sticky one, is what I'm getting at. But go on.
You see, with that team we got, now, I mean, I get called toxic all the time, whatever. None of it bothers me in the slightest, Everyone's allowed their own opinion as far as I'm concerned.
That's why you're here, man.
I don't think that team is as bad as some people, some of us, make out. I really don't. I think that team, the way it does, is purely down to the manager's tactics. purely down to their tactics. Yes, we do need better players in better positions. And one thing we definitely need, something Alex has said for a long time, we need to, I haven't got the best way with words yet, but we actually need some players with some mental capability, with some mental strength. Not that they're going to bloody miss a shot or two and then need to go see a counsellor for 6 months. What we need is a manager who can adapt to the Premiership, who can adapt by game. Because game by game, you're playing different teams, different tactics, different styles. Now, you can have your basics, but you've got to know when to tweak your little bits in your basics.
There's no one on the panel think he will never, ever change. Does anyone think, right, he will never tweak, he will never adapt, he will never
Not
see
properly.
That and make him. Everyone thinks that this is his way or the highway, and if it works, it works.
I like it, but I like the way he plays, but he just doesn't have the players in total to play the way he wants to play. Like, to be honest with you, if he did have the players I said before that he needs to play the way, I think that he would just, knock teams out of the park, and he would be very successful. And he, as he showed in those first 10 games, he would just knock teams for 6 straight away, but he doesn't have the players.
But they sussed him. That's what it was. Give him the best team on this planet, yeah? He still wouldn't win a league. And I'll tell you why. Because he concede too many goals. Simple as that. You do not win a league conceding 50, 60 goals a season. Give him the best team in 30 wins.
I think that's down to the players that he's got, though. I think that what I'm trying to say is that I think that the honest truth is, if he had better players in some of the areas, I think he would be successful. But I think that we know that he ain't going to get those players whilst being at Spurs, and he ain't going to change. So
give him Man City's team, he still ain't winning that league. Why? Because of what you said earlier. Because of what Pep does, he inverts one wing back and leaves the other as a back three, or even gets one to cover a 6, yeah? Ange don't do it. He won't do it. He hasn't done nothing as yet to prove to me that he's got any capability of doing it any way but his way. So even if you go and give him the best Barcelona team or the best AC Milan team ever, there's still going to score too many goals against us for us to win a league. Do I think he can win a cup? Yes, because you can win a cup on a bit of chance. But a league, 38 games, his way will never, ever work in a top league. Like the English, Spanish, Italian, German, French, 50-50, yeah? But he will just concede too many goals. You cannot play that way to win a league of you score 3, we score 4. It hasn't been done. You can't do it. And that is just the way he does it. And when you got 2 centre-backs sitting on the halfway line, unless they can both run like Van der Ven, you're screwed. That's why we concede the same goals.
I'm gonna wrap it because we've been going for like almost 2.5 hours. But do you not have anything final to say? And before I get into that, make sure, guys, you are liking, you're sharing, and you're bigging up the stream, man, because this needs to get out there. We need to be having these debates, these constructive debates. It's the only way we're going to learn as fans. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, please make sure you pick up these guests as well. But, yeah, any final words from you, Supreme? Anything that I may have missed in terms of, maybe looking forward to the Newcastle and the Arsenal game? Is there anything you want to get off your chest, midfield-wise, up front, whatever?
Just pray that Solanke might, on the slide, won't be fit, because if not, it's a long game. It's a long game, but I feel as though beating Everton and scoring some goals will do us good for some momentum, because obviously if we were going there off the back of that Leicester defeat, I'd be really worried about what would happen. But yeah, I just hope that in some way, up into the game this week, we can maybe get rid of Lo Celso and Reguilon, or even sell one of them, and maybe get the sneaky left back, and go into the weekend knowing that we've got left back cover. And like, I would take a point in it. I would take a point, because I'm not that proud. I'm not proud enough. I'm not that proud to admit that, like, for the last 2 seasons that we've conceded 8 goals there. So if we can go there and get a point, I'm happy. If we win, then that's massive. That's a bonus, because that ground is a bogey to us. No longer our friend. So, yeah, man.
I hear it, man. Big yourself up, Supreme. Dan, any final words before you leave the building?
It's just, a lot of it just comes down to frustration. I just want to see our manager prove that he can just change a couple of things when needs be. That's all I want off him, and then I'll say go for it. You know what? Just to say it quick, I really like what he done the other day with putting that Odobert on. That actually impressed me a bit. And like, do you know what, Ange? You look like you've actually got the bottle to do something. We're doing this youth project. Well, come on then, do the bloody youth project. And I think he'll get more respect of supporters and more support of supporters if he actually does this project thing that we're meant to be doing. Only time will tell. And then the game with Newcastle, I ain't looking forward to it. And I agree with what Supreme said there. If we get a point out of that, I'll be a happy man.
Yeah, man. Because we've been going there and getting embarrassed.
Totally. You're right on that
Box
100%.
office.
Box office. You telling me?
Listen, it is what it is at the moment. We just have to just get through it, and that's it. We'll just to see how it goes. I'm still feeling the way I feel at the moment. I don't feel confident about our squad. I don't think anything's going to improve. I don't think we're going to get anybody in the transfer window right now. It'll be surprised if we do. I think it's too late as well. I think he does. I think people are right that discussed we need to adapt. But at the end of the day, we are just a sixth or seventh or eighth team in the Premier League, in my opinion. And at the end of the day, these conversations won't happen. These debates don't happen if we knew that the board have the nerve to stick with the manager. And at the moment, no one knows. And I think these conversations are going to carry on throughout the season until we know that we've got top four, right? Or we see how this plays out, and that's it. I still predict what I said before. This guy's gone at the end of the season. So
Christmas.
No, end of season.
End of season.
I think
for me it's January.
Okay, cool. We'll revisit it. Back in Jan, we'll revisit it.
But like I say, it is what it is. Like I said, because I see a lot of people on stream, and I can see their faces now, and I think they just look fed up. I know there's a lot of people out there that have got energy, but I think we've had the same conversation, Ash. You know what I mean? So like I say, it's too early at the moment to make judgments at the moment. I do agree with that. And I just think we just have to see how this plays out. But what I will say is these games that we have got, other than the Brentford game, I think that we've got in the run, it's still going to be a tough game, I think, as well. It's going to be I think it's a very tough run. And I think we're going to see what we're made of. That's my opinion.
Yeah, for me, my final words is, we won 4-0. You wouldn't think we won 4-0, you know what I'm saying? But I understand it because, we can see the shortcomings. It wasn't like it was a flawless 4-0 and then come without. And then we had the game in Leicester before that and the pre-season, so I do understand the sentiments. But positives is, like I said before, we did manage to score goals that weren't the typical down your sides, in your face. I did see the fullbacks play a little bit wider, so we did show a little bit more width, which I thought was important to maybe switch it up a little bit. Am I nervous about Newcastle? Of course I am. Do you know what I mean? Newcastle, at the end of the day, they've got finishers. Gordon, Isaac, you know what I mean? Tonali could feature. That's one thing I didn't talk about. Tonali could be a problem. He's someone that can get on the ball, make things happen. The others are brutes. Do you know what I mean? You got Grimaris, a good ball player, but he's a brute, and so is Joe Linton. And those are the things I worry about of Newcastle. And as you guys already said, we haven't got the greatest record there, so I always hold that against them. But this is football, man. Anything can happen, and the longer we can keep, because last season we had Werner playing, and he missed sitters. If he scored those goals, I'm saying ifs. It could have been a different game because we had those chances first. The doggy, for me, he made a big mistake. He lost the ball, but you're gonna get that with young players. You're gonna get players making mistakes at the back. He did that a couple games again. Leicester, I think he made a little mistake, and I think he made a mistake against Everton. But hopefully, the mistakes we do have aren't too detrimental. We're not like the own architect of our own downfall, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I did see Newcastle versus Bournemouth, but again, they might have been a bit more conservative. We're a bit more open, and so it'll be a completely different game. It's hard to call it off that, but they haven't been as prolific this season. That's the one thing I can hold on to with Newcastle. They haven't been blowing teams away yet, and I'm hoping they don't start against us. If we do lose, I'm hoping it's not an embarrassment and we show a bit more character. But yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm happy with a point, but I want the 3 points. But yeah, guys, man, thanks for coming on. Big yourselves up. Any plugs before I leave as well? Any more plugs?
Thanks for having us on.
Cool.
No, nothing from me. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for having us on.
I think Ashmatic. I think you've seen me being the quietest in the show because I think the stars of the show have been them two, Dan and Supreme. I mean, honestly, I was just like sitting there, just like. I said my piece, and then them two just went off at each other. And I was just like, we were just sitting there, just like watching these guys just go at each other.
If you fucking took your top off at one point, I was like, I
was like sitting there thinking, this is ding ding dong, ding dong. I was like, here we go. This is what we want to come and see. You know what I mean? By the way, just firstly, I just need to say this, Jammer D, bro. Honestly, like you're embarrassing yourself, bruv. Yeah, you're embarrassing yourself, bruv. Yeah. I ignored you because you're just making a fool of yourself. Give me a football opinion first before you're calling me gay, bruv. Honestly, you're making yourself look like a fool, bruv, man. A fool. But if you want to still come in the chat, it's fine. It's fine because you just fueling Mr. Box Office that city, bruv. Making you look like a fool, bruv, yeah? A fool. Yeah? Jamaican style fool, bruv. Yeah, that's what I need to say, and that's it. Back to you, Smacky. I'm done. Mixing this guy to pieces. I'm out of it, done.
Cool, guys. Do remember, the chat's in the description as well for Dan's channel. Mr. Box Office, obviously, TV's there. Supreme, you can catch him on X. Just type his name in, he'll pop up. But tomorrow we go at it again. Rival chat. It's gonna be a few arms swang. You know what I'm saying? You know we like to get at Arsenal, Newcastle especially. I did invite him on this show. But I thought it was too many Spurs, man. I don't know. I don't think he was ready. Yeah. Tomorrow he's going to be on, or later on today, shall I say now.
I think we're the worst breed to have like a Newcastle fan on with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know they give it. You know they give it. But yeah, we've got rivals on tomorrow, so we're going to see a few of those fans clashing. And as always, man, we'll be talking about hot debates, hot topics, and things that happened recently. But yeah, guys, please make sure you like the stream, big yourselves up. And come on, you Spurs. Big up.